Well, a very pleasant good evening to all of you. This is Throwback Thursday on WPSL 1590, the Talk of the Treasure Coast, and on WLX TV as we are shooting this game for your video pleasure, if you will, on demand on WLX as well, the school board channel. And we want to thank them once again for a great year of working with us last year, and we're going to just kicking things off again this year. And what a way to do it. This is exactly our 23rd anniversary of doing Port St. Lucie Jaguar football. So who better than the one and only sports guy, Jeff Powers, to kick this puppy off. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great, Greg, and it's actually a very honor to be here tonight because it was 23 years ago today. 1989, it was the summer, August of 89, that Port St. Lucie High School started.
Yep.
And we, very shortly after, were broadcasting their football games. It was the Port St. Lucie High School game of the week. And then we went on to expand and cover the whole area and the multiple divisions that encompass this area with the high school football game of the week. And back we are again now with Port St. Lucie High School, and they will be visiting the Fort Pierce Central Cobras here at Lawnwood Stadium, and they're getting ready to kick off in about 10 minutes. Also with us tonight, one of the, I believe, the second athletic director at Port St. Lucie High School.
And the reason we're all here.
That's right.
Danny Neinstein.
Danny Neinstein joining us. How are you, Danny?
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me. It's a highlight of my school year so far, being around you guys.
Well, Danny was the one that recommended to Greg one day. He said, I need someone else to start calling some of these games. And Danny said, why don't you give Jeff a call? And then I started doing them, and we've evolved. And Coach Rick McGuire came on board also at Danny's urging. And he became one of the groundworking broadcasters for WPSL in multiple sports, football, basketball, and with the NASCAR show.
Well, since we had to be multilingual on the air, we figured Rick McGuire was perfect because nobody could understand his English.
That's right. He spoke beautiful New York for a guy from Connecticut,
Right.
Which was quite a task.
Oh, boy. Well, Danny, I thought of you today because of one thing that we got from St. Lucie County, and that was a press release from the county extension agent that said that today was the beginning of feral hog hunting season. Now, Danny Neinstein has a few feral hog stories about Port St. Lucie High School, don't you?
Yes, when I first took over, one day we came to work on the stadium, and they had torn one of the practice fields completely apart. And there was a picture on the front page of the paper with the great Jack Simpson, who helped build the stadium. Under his direction, it got finished. And so they had to redo the whole, and now they're back. They disappeared for a while, but now they're back. They're having a heck of a time with them the last year or so, moving around, breaking through the fences and stuff. And
Oh, no.
It's just,
Actually, Greg, if you recall, one of the early games when we were broadcasting from Port St. Lucie High School from the stands, the fences weren't even complete all the way. And we had, if I recall, it was on the north goal side.
Yes,
the fence was open,
yes.
and we had a hog run in during the game. And that was the first time I couldn't identify what number was on that pig, but it wasn't on the roster, and then we realized exactly what it was. But that was a real eye-opener in the early stages of Port St. Lucie High School football.
And you realize it was one of the Washington Redskins. Which, oh, by the way, how about this for a segue? We are the pregame show for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Washington Redskins coming up. The last NFL preseason game is coming up right after this game, right here at Lawnwood Stadium. It's the Port St. Lucie Jaguars and Fort Pierce Central Cobras, and we will be back in a couple minutes. You're listening to the Game of the Week on Fox Sports Treasure Coast and WLX TV.
Great news! Your St. Lucie Public Schools has created an app available for you to download today. It's easy. Just go to your online app portal and search for St. Lucie Public Schools. Once you have downloaded the app, you have handy access to St. Lucie Public Schools news, calendars, athletic events, parent resources, educator resources, and, with just a single swipe, contact information and website links for all public schools in St. Lucie County. In addition, this app provides you with the ability to follow us on Twitter. Here you can receive more frequent information and real-time happenings in your St. Lucie Public Schools. Download the app today.
Thank you. Hey, Muggsy.
Cadet Second Lieutenant Charity Joseph, Cadet First Lieutenant Brenda Madonna, and Cadet Staff Sergeant Christelle Cabrera.
We are back at Lawnwood Stadium for tonight's game between the Cobras and the Jaguars. And guys, I know you were at the very beginning of Port St. Lucie High School, both of you guys. How did all this start to build Port St. Lucie High?
At the time, there was Fort Pierce Westwood High School and Fort Pierce Central High School. We're the only two high schools in St. Lucie County. And in 1989, as Jeff mentioned earlier, they started Port St. Lucie High School under the direction of Charlie Kumo. And a lot of our kids came in as sophomores and juniors from Central and a few from Westwood. And, they bust them to Port St. Lucie High School. So a lot of them had played freshman or JV sports with kids from as a Central Cobra, and now they were a Port St. Lucie Jaguar. So there was a lot of friendship, but there was also some pretty good rivalry because sometimes next-door neighbors were playing against each other because they had decided to go. At that time, they had a choice to go to Central, from Central to Port St. Lucie High School. And then it just evolved, and then 10 years later, Centennial, and then after that, Treasure Coast High School. So really, it was Central that kind of was the foundation of Port St. Lucie High School. I would probably say 80% of the kids came from Central High School to Port St. Lucie High School, but they had all been bused up to Fort Pierce, and that was people in Port St. Lucie. So what do you mean? We're a big city. We don't even have our own high school? No, you don't have your own high school. So that's how it all started.
Wow.
And if you recall, there were quite a few good players that came down that went on. Many players from Port St. Lucie High School went on to professional sports. The first and foremost that I can think of, Danny, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, was Larry Green. Was a Port St. Lucie High School alumnus, and he, I think that was the last year Port St. Lucie was at the playoffs, I believe.
Actually, in 1990 was the year we went to the playoffs. He was a 4-year starter at quarterback for us and went on to Virginia Tech and played a little in the arena football and is now coaching down in Boca. But Larry was our first Division I athlete, and anyone who ever watched him play Pop Warner knew he was going to be a great one, and he was, because he just would run up and down the field. And So Larry kind of formulated, and we were talking the other day, we've had just about 200 student athletes sign scholarships since 1990, because that was the first year we had a graduating class. 200 is not bad. It's if you're from the north, wow, that's not very old school. But
Right. Okay, so how many grads would you say Port St. Lucie High has had since 1990? Thousands.
Average 500 a year.
Okay, which gives you an idea, and I know you've talked about it with Coach John Messina, and Fred touched on it last week as far as academics go. The fact is, there you just hit it on the head. We've only had 200 athletes go to Division I since 1990 with thousands of graduates. That's why you get a good education.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And not to leave out Fort Pierce Central, the Cobras are a renowned school in this area for constantly putting out a very strong football program, always being in the hunt, and have had many, many graduates also go on. So this part of Florida here has really promoted a lot of athletes from the high school into the college ranks and many, many on into professional football. Well, we're getting ready to start here. It's going to be Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars will be kicking it off to the Fort Pierce Central Cobras. The Cobras will be receiving and going from your right to your left. It's still daytime here. The daylight is out, but the lights are on. The weather's warm, and here we go as our opening kickoff. It's a short one, and it's going to be taken at the 28-yard line up to the 30, making some room, going backwards now and down to the 25. Trying to find some running room on the left side, but some good aggressive tackling by Port St. Lucie will put the Jaguars in good defensive position as the Central will start on their own 27-yard line.
Tyree Sessions in on the tackle for Port St. Lucie.
Port St. Lucie lines up defensively very quickly because the Cobras are going with no huddle to start the game. They probably called several plays up front and know what they're doing in this first series on this opening drive. From the 25, 27-yard line, the short snap. And there's a handoff on the left side. And there's some running room just getting outside the 35-yard line, tackled right about there. So right off the bat, a 7-yard gain on the opening play for the Cobras.
Port St. Lucie High School looks like they're man-to-man on their receivers.
From the shotgun is Jake Celedonia, and there's a handoff right up the middle and a first down all the way up to the 44-yard line. Nice play.
Justin Hodge last week had an amazing game against Westwood. I don't know how many yards he gained, but it was over 100, and most of them were on runs like that.
Well, he sure looks the role, doesn't he? With the white gloves on, Fort Pierce Central with the gold jerseys, the blue numerals and the blue pants. Port St. Lucie with the all-white uniform and black helmets. Man in motion to the right. There's the snap, fake handoff, and down goes the quarterback, Jake Celedonia, sacked back at the 37-yard line. There'll be a loss of about 8 yards on that play.
It's interesting. You look at that Port St. Lucie defense looking very similar to what Westwood did last week. I mean, they started in the first quarter. They had a swarming defense on Fort Pierce Central before finally the gates open on some big plays by the Cobras.
Celedonia in the shotgun, and he draws, with his snap count, he draws number 60 offside. And we don't have a correct jersey number on that, but a very, very alert play by the quarterback, Celedonia, changing up the cadence, drawing Port St. Lucie off sides, and that'll bring up now a 2nd and 3 instead of a 2nd and 8. 2 wide receivers split to the far side, short slot left, 2 split left, and a single back standing next to Celedonia. Jake swings it out to his back on the right side. That's Tyrone Coleman. Coleman gets up there very close to a first down. In fact, it appears he did. No, excuse me. He was now, that was a long, 2nd and long. It'll be 2nd and 9 from the 46-yard line. A little rusty after all those years.
Hey, that's okay.
Aaron Payne has a pair of shoes that you'd want, Greg. Look at those. They're bright green, yellow, whatever
Love
color
them.
that is.
Love them.
Jake Celedonia takes it from the shotgun, looking straight, long, down the middle. He's got his man, and he's going to go all the way. That was a 37-yard pass, but it goes all the way for a touchdown, and that went to Antonio Haddon.
Boy, this is looking awfully familiar. It's amazing. This is just what happened last week. It was the big plays that killed Westwood, and now all of a sudden you get that 55-yarder.
That was a beautiful play, actually. It was a really nice route by Haddon on the right side, and Jake Celedonia, beautiful spotting on that one. and laid it right in there. The snap is low on the extra point attempt, but the kick is up, and it's good by Jacob Harrison.
So the PAT is good, 7-0 Central. The 9:35 mark here in the first half. You're listening to the Game of the Week on WPSL and on WLX TV.
Great news! Your St. Lucie Public Schools has created an app available for you to download today. It's easy. Just go to your online app portal and search for St. Lucie Public Schools. Once you have downloaded the app, you have handy access to St. Lucie Public Schools news, calendars, athletic events, parent resources, educator resources, and, with just a single swipe, contact information and website links for all public schools in St. Lucie County. In addition, this app provides you with the ability to follow us on Twitter. Here you can receive more frequent information and real-time happenings in your St. Lucie Public Schools. Download the app today.
Welcome back to Longwood Stadium on the subsequent kickoff after the Fort Pierce Central Cobra touchdown. Seth Ingersoll kicked it off, and the Port St. Lucie Jaguars bring it all the way back to the 20-yard line, and they'll start just about their own 21 as we're at 9:27 to go in the first quarter, and the Fort Pierce Central Cobras are ahead 7-0.
Eddie Yerby's the quarterback for Port St. Lucie. He was a linebacker type last year, and has a great arm. From a wrestling family at Port St. Lucie. His dad went to Port St. Lucie High School, and they made him a quarterback during the summer, and he's done a great job. But he has the frame of a linebacker lineman.
150 pounds. Here he goes. He swings a pass out on the left side. It's caught and down by actually, the pass was received by Christian Goodwin, and it was a nice one, but he lost his footing, and it ends up being a net loss of 3. So the Jaguars trying to get something together. They're playing a very spread offense. They're on the far hash mark right now, and they're having 2 wide receivers. Now they're switching the offensive set, trying to draw our Cobras into a little confusion. They send trips to the right.
Looks like they got 4 receivers.
They got trips to the right and a slot.
Whoa.
All receivers wide to the right. They have 1. That's it. And here it comes. Yerby takes the pass, throws it right across to the left side, the only man out there, and he makes the catch at the 35-yard line. Good for about 14 yards, so it'll be a first down, and the first one for the Port St. Lucie Jaguars. I remember Eddie Yerby's dad. I remember him playing. So I looked at that, I said, wait a minute, that can't be Yerby. Generation later. It's a beautiful night here. We'd like to welcome you, whether you're at the stadium or at home or driving in your car. This is going to be a good game. The Port St. Lucie High School football Jaguars are on the march. Eddie Yerby takes the snap. Hand off on the left side. A very good defensive push by the Fort Pierce Central Cobras, and that was led by number 85, Seth Ingersoll, who's also the kicker.
You'd almost have to be a quarterback the size of Yerby to feel comfortable staring at 900 pounds in the middle of that defensive line. I mean, that central line is really something.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Greg. And here comes Yerby again. He's got one back. He takes the ball himself. He's trying to get some yardage back to get to the original line of scrimmage. And he's close to it. In fact, possibly gain of about a yard pass. So it'll be 3rd down and 9 from the 30, just inside the 35-yard line of the Jaguars. 7:28 remaining in the first quarter. Jaguars trailing 7-0. And they are facing a big 3rd down to try to keep some momentum on the Port St. Lucie side.
I got a feeling that 150-pound on the roster is a little bit off. I'm sure he doesn't wrestle at 150.
150, one leg?
receiver split, two each side. Yerby still got the ball, and he finds a man open, and for a first down, wonderful catch by Shane Mistretta.
Boy, that should be a penalty, but I don't see any handkerchiefs on the field. Wow,
Yeah,
he was really clotheslined.
You're going to see a handkerchief, but it's going to be Shane Mistretta wiping the tears from his eyes from that hit. But it was a great catch, a nice play, and he stays in, and he'll come out two wide receivers to the right. They're going to stick with two to the left. It's proving successful. The Jaguars convert on a very big third down, and it's first and 10 from the 50-yard line for Port St. Lucie. Yerby takes the snap. Inside handoff. Right up the middle goes number 2, Tyree Session. Nice gain of about, let's call it 7 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 3. Jaguars are moving the ball, Danny. It's good to see.
Yeah, they're mixing it up, and that last play by Mr. Yerby to escape the tackle was outstanding. And it shows his size. I mean, maybe somebody a little skinnier, a little lighter weight might not have been able to escape that.
Well, he keeps the ball this time, and they come right in. Central comes in hard on him. They keep him down to about a 1-yard gain. So it'll be 3rd down and 1 yard to go as they'll mark it at about the 41-yard line of the Cobras. Port St. Lucie on the move. They're going to go quickly without a huddle, but we have
Injured
a man
player.
down.
It was something on that play. They had Yerby sacked, and he still wound up gaining 3 yards.
He's not going to be easy to take down with his size. Unfortunately, that's him laying on the ground.
Well, like we say, 6:08 remaining in the first quarter. 7-0. The Cobras have the lead. We have an injured player on the field right now, and that is the quarterback for Port St. Lucie, Eddie Yerby III. It's going to be a 3rd down and 1 when we resume play from the Cobra 41-yard line. And they're lifting Yerby up right now. They're going to help him. Oh, excuse me. They're going to take him off to the sideline. And he's limping off with help on both sides. Not a good sign.
Yeah, he's not putting any pressure at all on his foot.
Yes, appears to be something on the left side.
Left side, yep.
Left knee or ankle. Hard to say from here. Well, let's see if that can inspire the Port St. Lucie Jaguars to tighten their belt one notch. The new quarterback coming in appears to be Jude Itene. Now Darius Orgain is going to be taking a snap. Number 22. Darius takes the snap. He's looking for some room. He's in trouble. He's in real trouble, and down he goes with a loss of about 7 yards on the play. So it's going to bring up a 4th down and 7 yards to go, and it'll be from the Cobra 47-yard line, with just 5:45 to go in the first quarter, with the Jaguars trailing 7-0.
It's like the punting unit's coming in. It's obviously too far for a field goal.
And one thing you don't want to do is put the Cobras in good field position by trying to go on 4th down from this position with your starting quarterback on the sideline. So Christian Goodwin comes in to do the kicking. He'll await the snap.
And Dravius Knowles back to receive on his 10.
Short kick. What kind of bounce will take? Well, it goes out of bounds right about at the 30-yard line. And that's where they'll mark it. And the Cobras will bring their offense back on the field at their own 30-yard line with a 7-0 lead, 5:05 remaining here in the first quarter.
And taking a look at the referees out there, Justin Lucas is the official, the referee. Umpire, Bernard Jethro. Michael Apolaro is the linesman. Line judge is Rob Kaminsky. Side judge is Ralph Morrison. The field judge is Fernando O'Neill. And Jack Grant is the poor ECO sitting next to us.
From the shotgun, one back behind him goes Jake Celadonia. And he hands it off to that back, and that back is had, and he goes straight ahead. And he picks up about 3 yards on the carry. It'll be 2nd and 7 from the 32-yard line. Again, the Cobras, no huddle offense. They're just keeping Justin Hodge in the backfield. They're going with trips to the right. They're on the near side hash, going from your right to your left. Very organized offense, and they keep the similar schemes. There's not a lot of changing around at this point. Going back to pass, right up the middle. The pass is incomplete. Open, but it was thrown a little low, and it was a nice attempt by Matarvis Brown, but it falls incomplete on the double coverage that came in just a little late.
Greg, you made mention of the Cobras' defensive line. Their offensive line is pretty stout themselves.
Yeah, this is a big club. There's no doubt about it.
Cobras always seem to have a big offensive line year after year. And it helps because it'll give them just a few more seconds to get the ball out. Celadonia's in trouble, but he's running wide right. But good pursuit by Port St. Lucie, but a flag comes down, and it may be face mask. Going against the Cobras, against the Port St. Lucie Jaguars.
Oh.
Too bad. It was a nice pursuit. He went all the way across to the far side of the field and had good coverage there by Tyrone Brown.
See, that's what Westwood did last week. And all of a sudden, they're playing good, solid defense, and they make a mistake like that. And, they had him pinned. There was no reason for that face mask whatsoever.
Well, they're giving it the 5-yard variety. So they'll put that ball down at the 38-yard line for the Cobras, who will now have a 3rd and 1 with 4:17 to go in the first quarter and a 7-0 lead over the Port St. Lucie Jaguars. Jake Celadonia, quarterback from the shotgun, trips this time for the far side, which is on our side, and they go to the right side on the run. And again, they're sticking with Justin Hodge, their star running back, and he does pick up the first down with a gain of 2 just across the 40 to about the 41-yard line of the Cobras.
Second first down for the Cobras. They're even with PSL tonight, 2-2.
3:55, we're counting down the first quarter. Glad you could be joining us tonight on our Throwback Thursday high school football game of the week. And here goes Celadonia from the shotgun. Handoff again to Hodge on the left side. Hodge doesn't get much room, though. I think that the Port St. Lucie offensive line is starting to see things a little better when it comes to the center. Their pursuit's been really good, Danny. Doesn't seem like these penalties or the injury to their quarterback has done anything to quench their fire.
No, what surprises me is that Central's able to go wide rather than up the middle. They haven't been very successful when they've run up the middle, but when they went wide, they picked up their yardage.
They said a man in motion to the right side. Back goes, looking to throw, but goes to Hodge. Hodge fumbles, picks it back up. It falls right back in his hands, and he escapes tackles. Unbelievable. Hodge is just a miracle worker. I think the ball turns into a lamp with a genie in it, and he rubs it, but there's a penalty marker down, and this one might go against the Cobras. The penalty marker's thrown at the 48-yard line of Port St. Lucie.
Block in the back.
That would be interesting to see if he had complete control of that football.
I was going to say.
In the backfield.
Yeah.
Because it didn't look like he took a step or two maybe, and the ball came loose.
Instead of having the ball in Port St. Lucie territory at about the 47, they're going to be back at Cobra territory at the 42, where it'll be 2nd down and 8 yards to go with 2:59 remaining here in the first quarter. Cobras leading 7-0. Quarterback Jake Celadonia awaits. He's making the calls. A no-huddle offense the entire first quarter thus far for the Fort Pierce Central Cobras. They're on the near hash, trips to the right, Celadonia and Hodge in the backfield. No, Hodge isn't in the backfield this time, but they throw it downfield on the left side, and it's incomplete. Pass was intended for Kerwin's Phil Mamie.
Nice sportsmanship on that. Port St. Lucie defender tapping him on the back of the helmet. They hugged each other. Obviously friends. I mean, these kids, most of them are neighbors. I mean, they're playing against each other.
This is a very, very good Port St. Lucie Fort Pierce rivalry that goes back to the beginning of Port St. Lucie high school football. Again, they're on the near hash, and this time they're going to have twin receivers. Slot left on the left side, trips to the right. No one in the backfield. Celadonia looks to throw, catches his inside.
Nice hit.
His inside man, Jacob Harrison, coming across from the right to the left. He picked up about 3 yards, where it'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Cobras.
Now, this is going to be interesting because Darius Oregon is the defensive back who made that nice hit. he's also looked like he might be the quarterback for a while. So he's playing both sides, which in Florida football this time of the year doesn't happen too often.
Not with the 90-degree weather we've been having, but they're true Iron Man if you're doing that down here.
And we haven't had a water break yet.
It's a very observant point. As you know, in Florida, that's a requirement to make sure that the players stay hydrated. Anyway, they're at the 45-yard line are the Cobras, where they're facing a 4th down and 6, and they're going to go for it. They have 3 men in the backfield.
They're going to punt.
Oh, they're going to go for a punt. And something happened because the play was killed prior to the snap.
Delay a game. Little confusion.
I agree. That'll put the ball back at the 40-yard line. That'll just give the Cobras a little bit deeper area from which to punt, and the Jaguars a better opportunity for some possible field position with 1:33 to go in the first quarter, trailing the Cobras by 7. There's the snap. The kick gets away. It's a nice one. And I don't know why it was called for a fair catch, but that was the case by Savon Cooper.
That was interesting because he had a big running lane ahead of him.
He had about 25 yards of green in front of him.
Yeah,
wow.
There weren't many people in front of him. They were on the sides. He could have done something, but maybe he saw something as the ball was in the air when he had to make a decision. He chose better safe than sorry.
Maybe he saw some of those yellow helmets and jerseys coming at him and said, well, I'll just take it the easy way, and we're in good field position.
We're at Longwood Stadium with 1:24 to go in the first quarter. It's 7-0. The Fort Pierce Central Cobras over the Port St. Lucie Jaguars. But the Jaguars are on offense, and they are going to move the ball without their starting quarterback. And that is number 14, Trebara Hickman, throwing the ball downfield, and it was incomplete. He stood in for the quarterback that's out right now. Eddie Yerby injured earlier in the first quarter on a running play. So
now, if we had the old days of John Ward when he ran the single wing, we wouldn't have to worry about that because they didn't really have a quarterback.
John Ward. Boy, that's a name.
Yep.
You pulled that one out of the past.
And that's what they ran, the single wing.
Yeah.
You never knew who had the ball.
Yeah.
Those were the toughest games to call, too, if I recall.
The quarterback was really called the spinner back, and a lot of times he turned his back right to the line of scrimmage. And actually the quarterback of that couple years was Cy McEwen. Cy McEwen did a great job as the spinner back.
From the famous McEwen sports family of Port St. Lucie. Here we go. Port St. Lucie High School has the ball at their own 41 on that penalty. It'll be first down. The handoff goes to Xavier Giles on the left side, and he is just assaulted behind the line of scrimmage, trying to go wide. The Port St. Lucie has not tried to attack the middle of that line, and maybe it's because of we know where all the beef is. So there's a loss of 3 on the play. It'll be second down and 13. We're just under a minute to play. Port St. Lucie trailing the Cobras 7-0. The ball is placed on the 38-yard line. Again, we're glad you could be joining us, whether it's from your car or home, being a part of our local high school sports Game of the Week broadcast. Yerby's out, the starting quarterback, so the snap varies. Pass across the middle. It's incomplete either way, regardless, so that'll be a third down. Looks like Port St. Lucie lost their quarterback, and they're abandoning the run primarily, but have yet to complete a pass since Yerby has gone down. Third down and 13.
You know, Jeff, it's early in the year. You wonder how much time Trebara Hickman has had getting reps during practice because you're taking a lineman or linebacker and making him a quarterback. You're spending a lot of time on him. I don't know how much time Trebara has had doing reps with the first team.
And that's where he is, folks. That's his call of duty. You've got 2 to the right, receivers 2 to the left, takes the snap, and he's going to throw again. Looks to the left, and this time it's complete. And it's a nice gain on third down, a gain of about 8 yards. It was 3rd and 12, and now it's going to be 4th and 4.
Good catch there by Jamal Polk.
And picked up another yard or so with a nice reach.
Yes, that he did.
You know, kids watch it on TV every Sunday and on Saturdays, and they become second instinct to them.
And a reminder, college football begins this weekend, and we've got it for you. We'll give you the rundown, but believe it or not, that's the end of the first quarter. This thing has flown by, folks. Fort Pierce Central leading it by a score of 7-0. You're listening to the Game of the Week on WPSL and on WLX TV, the school board channel.
Great news! Your St. Lucie Public Schools has created an app available for you to download today. It's easy. Just go to your online app portal and search for St. Lucie Public Schools. Once you have downloaded the app, you have handy access to St. Lucie Public Schools news, calendars, athletic events, parent resources, educator resources, and, with just a single swipe, contact information and website links for all public schools in St. Lucie County. In addition, this app provides you with the ability to follow us on Twitter. Here you can receive more frequent information and real-time happenings in your St. Lucie Public Schools. Download the app today.
Ooh, nice punt. Welcome back to Lawnwood Stadium. I'm Jeff Powers with Greg Wyatt and Danny Neinstein calling the Port St. Lucie High School Fort Pierce Central High School Football Game of the Week. We're just at the start of the second quarter, and Port St. Lucie was forced to punt, and the Cobras will start their first offensive possession of the quarter with a 7-0 lead and the ball on the far hash at their own 20-yard line. Jake Celedonia, again, the quarterback, looking strong, looking healthy. Cobras staying with trips to the right. Twin receivers to the left. One in and one out. One man in the back. Fake to the handoff in the backfield. They throw to the swing man on the left side, and that would be number 2, Jacob Harrison. But very good defensive pursuit leads that to a loss of about a yard on the play.
Nice tackle by Darian Oregon. And obviously they need him on defense more than they do as a quarterback. So they've gone with the younger Trabari Hickman.
Yeah, Hickman's a junior, and that gives Central a 2nd down and 11 from their own 19-yard line. We got trips to the left on the far side. The ball's on the near side hash. Celedonia takes it. He's looking to throw on the right side. He's got a man on the fly, and it's caught down inside at the 47-yard line, but there's a flag down.
I think it was 50-50 pushing. I think they were both doing a little pushing.
Let's see if he's going to pick that flag up, or they're going to call it pass interference against Port St. Lucie. They'll negate that penalty. They'll take the play, and it's a 1st down on that long pass completion for Fort Pierce Central down to the Port St. Lucie High School 47-yard line. Port St. Lucie trailing 7-0 from Lawnwood Stadium.
Got a little problem with the chains. They went the wrong way. Now they got it straight.
It's early in the season yet.
That's right, yeah.
That's right.
It's only a 7-0 game, though. Port St. Lucie playing without their starting quarterback, Eddie Yerby, who went out early in the first on an injury. And here comes Fort Pierce Central, the Cobras at the Jaguar 47-yard line. Jake Celedonia trips to the left. One wide receiver to the right. Takes the ball, handoff. Fake handoff. He keeps it. Runs to the right side. Gets across the 40 down to about the 38-yard line. Nice play by Jake Celedonia on that fake run.
Close to another 1st down. They're bringing it back. Back to the 40.
39-yard line is the line of scrimmage of Port St. Lucie for the Cobras of Fort Pierce Central. Port St. Lucie really needs to make a stand now and keep this a 1-score game, as the Cobras had good field position and are moving the ball after that long pass completion. Inside handoff straight up the middle. Haddon picks the right side to go through the 3-hole, picks up about 1 yard on the play, maybe 2, maybe enough for a 1st down.
There's nothing tricky with this offensive alignment.
No.
Trips either left or right. They're coming at you.
And it was good for a 1st down to the Jaguar 36-yard line. Here come the Cobras. They lead 7-0 with 10:04 remaining here in the first half. going from your left to your right. They put a man in motion coming across to the right side. Then he swings back. He blocks for number 20, Haddon, who runs on the handoff to that left side, taking the lead, blocking in front of him from the man in motion, and gets all the way down to the 28-yard line of Port St. Lucie for a gain of 8 on that first down play.
Well, when you run trips left or trips right, you've really had to spread out the defense. And they're now being able to run up the middle a little bit more than they were in the first quarter. And the defense for the Jaguars have been on the field quite a bit.
They bring it out to Celedonio, takes the snap. They give it to the man in motion, but he doesn't get anywhere on that play. Maybe a half a yard. It's going to be third down and about just under a yard as they'll mark the line of scrimmage at the Port St. Lucie High School 27-yard line. 9:09 to go, first half. Jaguars trailing the Cobras by a score of 7-0.
So, Jeff, where have you been for the last 20 years?
Listening to you guys.
Oh.
And it's been a lot of fun. Can the Port St. Lucie Jaguars do it, or can the Cobras score again? This time they fake the run up the middle. They throw out to the man on the left side, one of the trips, and he gets up to the 20-yard line. That's going to be a first down on a gain of about 6 yards.
We got a flag in the defensive secondary. Got a holding, it looks like, against the Cobras.
We'll wait the call from our referee.
Justin Lucas.
They're working it out with the officials right now with 8:42 to go in the first half. Fort Pierce Central 7, Port St. Lucie nothing. It's a close game, and Port St. Lucie has been admirable, hanging tight in this without their starting quarterback from early in the first quarter, going down with an injury, that being Eddie Yearby. Ball is spotted right now at the Port St. Lucie 21-yard line, which would have been a first down.
Holding is a sign.
And here comes our referee. He's going to tell us specifically, but they are marching back Cobra way, which gives a little more breathing room for Port St. Lucie in their secondary, and they're bringing it out to the 30-yard line. Just outside the 30-yard line, this is a big play for the Cobras now, facing a 3rd down and 5 from just outside the Port St. Lucie 30-yard line.
Boy, 50 yards and penalties against the Cobras.
That's helped Port St. Lucie quite a bit. Celedonio waits to snap. He's naked in the backfield. And here comes Port St. Lucie, and they get the sack. Loss of about 7 yards on the play. Great defensive play by number 45, Christopher Sims, leading the way on that barge up the middle.
And Ahmad Butler also in on that play. Great play by the Jaguars.
You know, Danny, that's what they needed. If you're a Port St. Lucie fan, these are the kind of things that are going to keep them in this game. Maybe Yearby comes back later on, or if not, they get themselves in a little better rhythm and get accustomed to playing without their starting quarterback.
You're absolutely right. And when you blitz like that, every once in a while, catch the offense off guard, because they shot right through there without anybody touching them.
Cobras are going to line it up. They're going to set their punter. It'll be about at the 50-yard line. There's the snap. The kick is off, and it appeared to almost been blocked, but it got off, and it's a good one. And it's going to go down and out of bounds at about the 12, 13, let's call it the 15-yard line for Port St. Lucie. So with 7:26 remaining, the Jaguars trail 7-0. They'll have the ball on their own 15-yard line to start this offensive drive.
Danny, tell us a little bit about it. Obviously, you were the athletic director of Port St. Lucie for how many years?
17.
17 years. A lot of changes in all of, especially the early years of that school, right?
Yeah, absolutely. John Piccarini, our basketball coach, took us to the Final Four, and John Messina, our baseball coach.
Port St. Lucie has had unbelievable success in many of the sports. Here we go. There's a handoff back to number 2, and he's going to pass the ball, and he's got a man wide open. That ball would snap to the quarterback, who threw it to Xavier Giles. Giles then looked like he was going to get sacked for a loss, and he tosses it to Jamal Polk. And next thing you know, the Jaguars are down at their own 42-yard line from their 15.
A big defensive play where they sack the quarterback.
Yep.
Now they come up with a nice offensive play. I things like that, momentum.
Especially at this age group. These kids get to feel it. It starts to get the fire burning, and here they come from the near side hash, going from your right to your left. Handoff goes to number 2 once again, Xavier Giles. This time he picks up about a yard on the play. That's fine. He's keeping it moving forward. It'll be 2nd and 9. The ball will be spotted at the Jaguar 44-yard line. 6:44 remaining in the half. Jaguars trailing 7-0. Would love to get some points on the board on this drive. Once again, Trabari Hickman is the quarterback, takes the snap. He's got one man in the backfield, and that's not enough. The ball gets loose, but I think the Jaguars recover back at their 36-yard line. Boy, they were coming in strong that time, that defense.
That's all he saw was yellow.
It just looked like there was a tsunami of yellow rolling in.
Just a reminder, tomorrow night, of course, Craig Jerome and his crew will be sleeping in the truck under the stands because they'll be back here tomorrow night along with Mike Thomas and Eric Dober because it's Westwood and Martin County. That game again on WPSL. It will also be on WSTU and on WLX TV. So a full weekend of football on WLX TV.
Yeah, the St. Lucie Educational Channel. And here we go once again. This time this line of scrimmage will be the 36-yard line. Here come the Jaguars. Trabari gets the ball. A lot of running room, but he elects to throw it. He's got a man, and it's... Oh, what a defensive play. He had a man. He threw it a little short. He went far off on the right side down by the 40-yard line of the Cobras. He had a lot of running room, Danny, but he thought he saw his man open, but it took a little long hanging up there.
And almost a fabulous catch. That was almost a fabulous catch.
Great defense by Antoine Wallace, who played an amazing game last week against Westwood.
These Cobras are very fast to react to what's going on the field.
Yep. I think we got our water break now. They're finally calling the water break. You know, it's funny, Danny, looking across the way at Port St. Lucie's band, that band 23 years ago would have filled up 3 sections. Now a little bit different, and obviously turning the clock back to when we started, you had a great band director who is now the provost of IRSC in Indian River County, Casey Lunsford.
Casey Lunsford, I had a chance to golf with him a couple months ago. I think he's spent a little more time on the golf course than he is provosting, but because he's a good golfer. But you're right, and the population of Port St. Lucie High School is about 900 less than it was 23 years ago, just because 2 new schools and demographics and everything. But new band director, she's going to do a great job.
Well, with 5:29 remaining in the half, high snap, going to punt on 4th down, and he gets it away. Oh, and he's hit. That's going to be a penalty, but the Jaguars were facing a 4th and over 15, it looks like, right around 15. So it doesn't matter where the Cobras bring it. This one's going to be coming back as they take it across the midfield stripe to the 45 of the Jaguars. But the penalty marker thrown by the kicker.
He popped up awfully quick. Was this Oscar time? Huh? Come on.
In high school sports, all you have to do is touch him.
Yeah, that's true.
5:12 remaining, first half, 7-0. Fort Pierce Central Cobras over the Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars.
Danny, why don't you explain a little bit about the population shift? Because I think what you were saying when we were in commercial break is very true of what's happened to the dynamics of the city of Port St. Lucie, which has grown west.
It's grown west. The people who sent their children to Port St. Lucie High School from Aroso to Floresta, they're still living there.
Right.
They didn't move away. So
and the kids have grown.
The kids have grown, moved on. So people aren't moving into those houses with young kids. They're moving out west. So, with Centennial and then Treasure Coast High School that are at 2,600.
Sure.
Central's a lot bigger than it was 5 or 6 years ago. Our zone, our blue zone, hasn't grown any smaller. It's just that the people haven't moved out of it. And, it'll equal out because at some point those people will retire and move on or?
Well, with 5:12 remaining in the first half, Cobras leading 7-0. They'll just mark 5 yards off. That'll bring it to a 4th and 10 from the Port St. Lucie 42, and they'll once again attempt to punt after the running into the kicker penalty was assessed against Fort Pierce Central. Oh, and it's a beautiful kick, and it's taken on the run at the 25, drop, picked up, still on his feet now at the 30, the 35, the 40, the 50. Oh, no. 40, 30, and he could go all the way. That was a good run. You can't knock that. He broke some tackles, though, and he'll go all the way with 4:51 to go on the punt return from the 25-yard line. 75 yards on the return.
Jannard Jackson, do I read that number right? Mm-hmm. He had more moves than Rick McGuire did when he was doing Dancing with the Stars down there. All right, we won't bring his name up too often.
Well,
The coach.
We can, certainly.
The coach.
The coach.
We'll trash him in the second half.
A great play for the Fort Pierce Central Cobras, thwarting any effort that Port St. Lucie was trying to do to tie this thing up. They'll now trail 13-0 as the Cobras will line up for the extra point. It was a beautiful run after the catch. Dodging tacklers, changing direction. Couple of spin moves, like you say. The McGuire shuffle got him through the last batch, and in he went. The kick is up, and the extra point is good. So with 4:51 remaining in the first half, the Cobras lead Port St. Lucie by a score of 14-0.
We have a penalty.
Okay, and we'll take a 1-minute break. You're listening to the Game of the Week on WPSL and watching it on WLX, your school board channel. It's 14-0 here from Lawnwood Stadium. We'll be back.
Great news! Your St. Lucie Public Schools has created an app available for you to download today. It's easy. Just go to your online app portal and search for St. Lucie Public Schools. Once you have downloaded the app, you have handy access to St. Lucie Public Schools news, calendars, athletic events, parent resources, educator resources, and with just a single swipe, contact information and website links for all public schools in St. Lucie County. In addition, this app provides you with the ability to follow us on Twitter. Here you can receive more frequent information and real-time happenings in your St. Lucie Public Schools. Download the app today.
Welcome back to Lawnwood Stadium. 4:51 remaining in the first half. Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars trailing the Fort Pierce Central Cobras 14-0. I'm Jeff Powers with Greg Wyatt and Danny Neinstein in the booth, calling this game from Lawnwood, and it's just now getting to where the lights are becoming very prominent. It would be considered dark. The weather's fine, but Port St. Lucie's in a jam. And there's the kickoff by the Cobras following their previous touchdown. Nice run on the right side. Ooh, good field position. Still on his feet up to the 43-yard line. What a great run. Couldn't tell if that was Lerard Williams or if it was Deirdre McFadden. Bottom line is the Jaguars' never say die attitude will bring their offense out at their own 42-yard line. good field position with 4:42 remaining in the first half as they try to get some points on and establish some momentum here. Again, playing the majority of this half without their starting quarterback, Eddie Yerby, down with an injury early in this confrontation. From the 42, they're on the far side hash. Port St. Lucie going from your right to your left. Game being televised on WLX, the St. Lucie Education Channel. There's the snap. Looking for some running room and not getting it. Some good pursuit. We got 4 Cobras in the backfield, and I'd say about a second and a half.
You know, Jeff, there's a lot of confusion before that play was being called. Is it they're trying to do something special? Is it the new quarterback that they haven't worked with that much? It's always a problem when you bring in another quarterback.
Now the question, can they solve some of these issues at halftime? I mean, can that be done that quickly?
And is Yerby done for the game? We haven't heard anything up in the booth related to that bit of information. But here we go again, and it's Trabari Hickman. He takes the snap. And he runs forward. He picks up just a couple yards. And that'll just bring him, after the loss, that'll bring him to a 3rd down and 11 from their own 41-yard line.
Trabari's a great kid. There's nothing against him. But when he runs the ball, it's a lot different than when Yerby was running the ball, because Yerby was making 2 or 3 people tackle him, and Trabari, it's one-on-one tackling.
They're on the far side hash are the Jaguars with twins to the left, twins to the right. Can Trabari throw it? Looks like that's what he wants to do. But, look at the pursuit. You see what I'm saying, Danny? You had 4 Cobras back there. He's tacked at the 30-yard line before he had a chance to even look upfield.
You're right, and that Cobra defense is fresh. They haven't been on the field that much, and they're obviously hungry.
Anthony Knighton, again, led that charge for the Fort Pierce Cobras, and just as this looks like a rewind of last week against Westwood.
Port St. Lucie comes up with some good plays. They seem to establish, but then again, without their starting quarterback, a little confusion like you pointed out, Danny, and that's leading to a little inconsistency. And if something breaks down, if you give a bone to the Fort Pierce Central Cobras, they're going to take the whole chicken.
You're absolutely right. And we haven't talked much about the sidelines, but it's obvious that Central has twice as the amount of players eligible for this game.
At least, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
A lot of those kids at Port St. Lucie are going both ways, special teams.
But this was a similar look last week against Westwood. I mean, Port St. Lucie has a squad about the same size as Westwood. Of course, they're in the same district, right, with Suncoast.
Correct.
Port St. Lucie, Westwood, Suncoast, that's their division. And here we go. Jaguars are facing a 4th and long. They're going to punt from their 30-yard line with 3:10 remaining in the first half. High snap. The kick gets off by Christian Goodwin.
Nice kick.
And it's a good one, and it's taken at the 31-yard line. Got to watch out. These Cobras are dangerous, and they're getting through lines of the defense. But there's a penalty marker down at the 50-yard line as, once again, going all the way on that play, this time was number 1, Ardravius Knowles.
It's coming back.
Oh, excuse me. I think that was 7. That was Jannard Johnson.
Again.
But this time the penalty marker was thrown way upfield at the 50-yard line. The pursuit by the Jaguars seems to be very strong early on the run, but if they break through the line, there's not many people back there. So
he's got some nice moves. There's no doubt about it. He has weaved his way up and down that field tonight with some great moves.
Okay, Fred and I had this conversation last week against Westwood. These are the mistakes that Central has got to eliminate before they get to the Veros of the world.
Right, in the next level. You're absolutely right. When you play against Vero, when you play at the next level, you've got to wipe away all mistakes.
And this is exactly what they did last week.
Well, this just cost them 7 points. Well, 6 points on the touchdown because they're bringing this back to the Cobra 40-yard line. So we'll call that actually a 6-point, 60-yard penalty net with 2:50 remaining in the first half. But the Cobras hold a 14-0 lead, and the Jaguars are very glad if they can just keep it that way. Here come the Cobras. Again, trips to the right, 1 to the left, looking to throw right. Plenty of time Jake Celedonia has all day, and he hits his receiver at the 50-yard line. Antonio Haddon coming out of the backfield.
Nice arm. He has a nice arm.
So much time. Haddon can get all the way out to where he wants to be. But there was a whole difference in what goes on when that ball snapped for Central as opposed to Port St. Lucie. Clock stop, 2:42 to go in the half. Cobras have the ball, the near side hash, going left to right from the 44-yard line. Celedonia gets the snap, throws it across the middle. It's complete. Matarvis Brown breaks a tackle, goes to the outside. Oh, he's going, and he's finally brought down. And it's a face mask on top of it, though, I believe, on the tackle. The tackle was made at the 18-yard line. But I think in the process of tackling, which saved the touchdown, I believe a face mask ensued. We'll await for the official call.
Well, they're saying block in the back.
Well, we still see the officials talking.
Really? Okay.
Personal foul against the Cobras and against the Jaguars. So they'll negate the play, correct?
I believe so.
They just indicated 2 personal fouls, one against each team, unless it was after the play.
Right.
You have a personal foul against Fort Pierce Central and a personal foul against Port St. Lucie. They're offsetting, so they will bring it back. And that's a real big – oh, they're not bringing it all the way back, though. They're marking it off.
Yeah, they go one way and then the other. I want them to check. I want them to check the footballs.
They're staying it down there. This is going against Port St. Lucie.
I don't want any deflated footballs here at Lawnwood. Huh?
You see the picture of the school bus with the flat tire? And it says, when Tom Brady's kid forgot to do his homework. Here's the snap for Central. They throw it across the right. Almost intercepted by Port St. Lucie. Right in the right place was Tyrone Brown, but it goes as an incomplete pass with 2:27 remaining here in the first half. Cobras up 14-0 over the Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars.
Just an observation. I'm surprised they keep throwing the ball. They did so well when they were running sweeps. Student body right, student body left, whatever you want to call it. But they sticking to their game plan.
Little too much time.
And so they'll back it 5 yards off. And I tell you what, every 5 yards is a big 5 yards with 2:27 remaining. Port St. Lucie does not want to see the distance between the goal line and the line of scrimmage any shorter than it is now. The line of scrimmage is the 28-yard line of Port St. Lucie. Trips to the left, twins to the right, and a timeout on the field taken by Port St. Lucie, trailing 14-0.
Now, the interesting thing about this game compared to last game, the 35-0 score was all in the first half. And the one thing Westwood could take away for this week is the fact that they held Central scoreless for the second half. And the subs were not in until the fourth quarter. It was a running clock, but still the subs weren't in until the fourth period. So, that was one positive for Westwood. Now let's see what they can do against Martin County tomorrow night and see if they can, rebound against Martin County, or did Central take out all the steam from Westwood?
And it's obvious that Central could have had 3 more scores here in the first half.
Yes.
Without the penalties.
Yeah.
And, again, they have to look at that and say, listen, if we're going to get to the next level, we've got to cut down on our mistakes.
That's exactly what Josh Schaefer said during the week.
And on the same token, you got Port St. Lucie. They might say, hey, listen, Port Central was held scoreless in the second half last game. Let's see if we can maybe get on top of that and make something for us. Here we go, line of scrimmage, the Port St. Lucie 28. The snap to Celedonia. He runs right up the middle, still on his feet, looking for the left side, and he gets tackled after a gain of about 4 to the original line of scrimmage of the 23-yard line, where it'll be third down and about 11.
I guess the huddle is gone in high school sports.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nobody.
It's gone everywhere.
They signal it in from the sideline. Sometimes they have 2 or 3 people signaling in so they can fake the other team out.
We haven't seen a huddle all game. We're at minute 58 remaining in the half. Central up 14-0 over Port St. Lucie. Celedonia takes the snap. Throwing down the right side. Whoa, that looks like two men caught the ball, and it goes incomplete. That was excellent coverage by Port St. Lucie. I couldn't tell who had the ball until finally when they hit the ground, it came loose.
It's going to be interesting. Well, it's a little too long for a field goal, but Ingersoll has an amazing leg for Central. We saw him in warm-ups kicking 45, 50 yards last week. So that kid's got the golden leg.
Minute 44 to go in the half. 4th down and 11 from the 24-yard line. Back to pass across the middle, and it's incomplete. Looks like he had his man beat, but somehow the pass goes through. Coming across from the right to the left to the middle of the field was number 8, Antonio Haddon, and it goes incomplete. So Port St. Lucie will take over on downs with a minute 38 remaining in the first half, trailing 14-0.
Well, hopefully the offense had a little chance to regroup between the penalties and other things going on. They had a chance to catch their breath and regroup. And
you're down 2 scores, but you're playing an away game without your starting quarterback early in the season. There hasn't been a lot of time to really work these kind of things out ahead of time. It's kind of play it by ear, play it on the huff. And here come the Jaguars. They got twin receivers to the left. One man in the backfield, wide receiver split to the right. Ball's in the middle of the field. Handoff goes to number 2. Tyree Session runs around the right side. Does a nice job. Picks up about 6 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 4 with the clock running with 1:25 remaining here in the first half.
He's kind of a bowling ball running back. He's kind of as wide as he is tall. He's more of a fullback, old-fashioned fullback than he is a single back. But that's really the first time they've run him outside.
Fullback. Boy, there's another endangered position.
I haven't even heard that name in a long time.
Yes. I think I used last week halfback, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, how many decades has it been since there's been a halfback?
Well, let's put it this way. I'm 60 years old, and I played halfback in the 1 year of football that I played. So that's about how long ago it's been.
Did you have leather helmets like I did? Oh.
They didn't make us wear face masks. No. That was an option.
That's because your school was sponsored by a dentist. That's why.
Yeah, that's right, and an orthodontist for the halftime show. Okay, with 1:25 remaining in the first half, Port St. Lucie has the ball. Nice play on Sessions' run. Port St. Lucie line of scrimmage at the 31. 2nd and 4. There's the snap. You don't know who's really going to get it back there because there's 2.
Oh.
And didn't get any far at that time at all anyway. A loss of about a yard or 2.
How about 6 yellow jerseys?
That's one thing. You've got to make a decision. You've got to make it real quick with these guys. And if it's the wrong one, you go down quickly. That's the end of it.
Yeah, the Jaguars are getting no surge forward. They're just getting stood up and beaten on the line of scrimmage. And that doesn't help a young quarterback. That doesn't help trying to get something going on offense when your offensive line can't move the ball, can't move forward.
Well, we're glad you could be joining us from Lawnwood Stadium tonight. Minute 17 to go. 14-0 Cobras over the Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars. Broadcasting to you tonight on WPSL, your Fox Sports Network, and on television, WLX TV, the St. Lucie Education Channel. Jeff Powers with Greg Wyatt and Danny Neinstein with minute 17 to go in the first half. And again, Greg, following this one, we've got the Washington Redskins and Jacksonville Jaguars in the
last preseason game.
That's it.
Yep.
We're getting ready for the big show.
For real on the 13th for the Jaguars.
Jaguars take the snap here to Port St. Lucie Jaguars. They throw a little swing pass to the right. Nice move. Get up to almost the 39-yard line. It'll be unfortunately short of a first down by about two yards.
By the way, speaking of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Mr. Khan today signed a 14-year lease with the City of London to play at least one Jaguar game a year in London. And, of course, if you look at some of the signs in London, it's wild. The Jaguars, London's team. And it's really amazing. Now, the Miami Dolphins will play one game over there this year. But there is a possibility that Jacksonville could play as many as 3 home games in London.
Well, they're not really filling them up in Jacksonville.
No.
And, when that happens, something's going to change. And, of course, with Goodell wanting to make football more of an international sport, this could be part of the way he starts to seed this and bringing it about.
Well, it's very interesting because all the sports are looking at this. I know Peter O'Malley just a couple of weeks ago was talking about, what we did with the Dodgers with the first off the Hispanics and then the Korean. He said, you have not seen anything until you see the Chinese come over here. Baseball is on fire in China, as is basketball. And as we've already seen, some of the stars from China that are in the NBA. So, I mean, everything's getting globalized. And even at our junior college level at IRSC, we're seeing foreign players from Australia, Serbia, Croatia, you name it, Turkey. And they're all playing against IRSC. Interesting.
19 seconds away from the first half, coming to a conclusion as the Jaguars punt out of bounds, safely out of bounds.
Yeah, don't let him get the ball again.
And they ran the clock down to 8 seconds remaining in the first half. Jaguars trailing the Fort Pierce Central Cobras by a score of 14-0.
Well, this is going to be interesting. I mean, if you look at Port St. Lucie, they're in a 3-team division. So 2 of the 3 teams are going to make it to the playoffs. And, hopefully Westwood will improve things. Hopefully the Jaguars will improve things. And if Suncoast plays the way they have over the last few years, it could be both the Jaguars finally breaking that long, 2-decade-long skein of not being in the playoffs.
24 years.
Whoa.
I was a young man then.
You both were. Danny still is.
No. Long pass down the left side. Goes incomplete. Big throw. What an arm.
Nice arm. Very nice arm.
He's
very accurate. Very, very nice arm.
Yeah.
Celedonia chucked that one a good 40 yards downfield, and it was just beyond the outstretched arm of his intended receiver. 2 seconds remaining.
His right ankle again. This happened last week as well when he sort of limped off the field at the end of the first half. But, it's he hasn't seen that much action tonight.
Well, he's going downfield again, I'll bet you, Caledonia. And he throws a short one across to Travis Knowles. Knowles gets tackled at the 45-yard line. As time expires in the first half, we have the Fort Pierce Central Cobras 14 and the Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars nothing. And it's halftime here at Lawnwood Stadium.
And we will be back with our halftime show from Lawnwood Stadium. And hopefully if John can break away from his computer, we'd love to have John Santucci with us from TC Palm. And don't forget again tomorrow night, it's going to be Martin County and Westwood right here at Lawnwood Stadium on both WPSL, WSTU, and WLX, the St. Lucie County Education Channel.
Great news! Your St. Lucie Public Schools has created an app available for you to download today. It's easy. Just go to your online app portal and search for St. Lucie Public Schools. Once you have downloaded the app, you have handy access to St. Lucie Public Schools news, calendars, athletic events, parent resources, educator resources, and, with just a single swipe, contact information and website links for all public schools in St. Lucie County. In addition, this app provides you with the ability to follow us on Twitter. Here you can receive more frequent information and real-time happenings in your St. Lucie Public Schools. Download the app today.
We are back at Lawnwood Stadium, and halftime is just about ready to get going here as we've got our halftime show 14-0 in favor of Fort Pierce Central. Central had to score a 55-yard touchdown. that made it 7-0 at the 9:35 mark, and then a punt return for 75 yards. Johnson at 4:51 mark in the second quarter. So for folks who thought that this might be a runaway, not quite so soon, because it's going to be a very interesting second half. This is hardly going to be like the Westwood game, that is for sure, when it comes to what's going to be happening here on week 2. Now, let's take a look ahead, Mr. Jeff Powers, at what's going to be happening with both of these clubs. If you look at weeks 1 and 2, and John Santucci can kind of slip in there, and he can sit in the Danny Neinstein mega chair over there. Whoa, he's fighting World War III there with the microphone.
Sorry,
John,
guys.
no, that's all right. John with TC Palm, your impressions. I mean, this is hardly like the game we saw last week.
No, Port St. Lucie's defense actually playing pretty well, but I think probably the best play they called was on their last punt with about 20 seconds left. They kicked the ball almost into the stands. If you kick the ball to a Dravius Knowles, you need to get your head checked. That kid has 2 weeks in a row, 70-plus yard punt returns. It looks like he's playing a video game when he runs the ball back. It's unbelievable. And, man, that kid's special with the ball in his hands for sure.
Well, your impression so far, I mean, from the feedback you've gotten from the other reporters, the other schools here on the Treasure Coast, what do they tell you?
Well, South Fork's offense is exactly what we thought it would be. They're high-powered. Stone Banowitz threw for 324 last week, and wide receiver Walt Thomas, who got our offensive game ball, had 3 touchdown catches, I was told, before Jensen Beach actually put a hand on him. So 5 catches, 200 yards last week. He's a phenomenal player. Centennial's defense played a great game last week. You know, the first play of the game, they gave up a 35-yard touchdown run. I think 55 yards after that total for Melbourne, which is always a solid team.
At Melbourne.
Yeah. And Nathaniel Nicholson with 2 defensive touchdowns in a 12-second span, which is an area record and probably will forever be. So nice game by them last week.
Yeah, I can't wait. Tomorrow night, of course, we'll be broadcasting the Westwood-Martin County game from here. I'll be doing telephone inserts from Centennial, and we'll be doing the cut-ins from that Centennial game, which should be a real good one.
It should. Centennial, Jensen Beach, obviously Coach Caffey now at Jensen Beach was an assistant at Centennial for a number of years, so those two coaches know each other very well. This year, it's a very similar style. Both teams want to run the ball up the middle. Both teams want to be physical. So I think I called that one 21-20. Jensen was my prediction. Ooh. I think it'll be very close.
Well, and Jensen seems to be, there's a lot of excitement around Jensen Beach High School. I know for the first time ever in the 23 years that Carol and I have lived here, there is a coaches show being sponsored by a booster group, and that's Jensen Beach High School coaches show with Coach Caffey that's on 7 o'clock every Thursday on WSTU. So there's a lot of excitement around that campus about this football team this year.
Yeah, they have some really nice pieces, couple outstanding sophomores in man, I just drew a blank. I can see their jersey numbers. I apologize, but
that's okay.
They have a number of young, exciting players on offense. It's a matter of just getting them the ball in the right spots. This, for me, is the question with Jensen Beach. Last year, they start 1-4 and they finish 5-5. 2 years ago, they start 1-4 and finish 5-5. They lost last week, and to in my opinion, at this point in the season, a better South Fork team. South Fork returned all of its offensive starters. That's hard to replicate. But you don't want to go down that rabbit trail again of falling down 0-2, 0-3. So, in my opinion, there's a really big game for them just from not wanting to get off to a bad start again. So, I think that's a big game for Jensen tomorrow.
And we will have the Westwood Jensen Beach game next week on both WPSL and WSTU. I'm not sure whether WLX TV will be coming along our way. We'll be in Jensen Beach for that game next week. Well, John, what other tidbits are you picking up from these football programs here on the Treasure Coast?
You know, I really this is the second time obviously we've seen Central. Their defense is exactly what we thought it would be. You know, when you're talking about Will Davis at defensive tackle, Antonio Knighton, at defensive end, Jeremiah Hyde at defensive end, Lafayette Ashley at defensive tackle, Greg Simmons as your middle linebacker. I don't know how many other teams can boast a 5-man unit like that with defensive line linebacker. So, and we're seeing that tonight, a ton of pressure. Port St. Lucie's offense, though, clearly different without Eddie Yearby. They look pretty good early on, and I think Jamal Polk is a really, really exciting receiver for Port St. Lucie.
Well, and I know early on when you put together the Super 11 at TC Palm, they're dotted with Fort Pierce Central players.
And by the way, I gotta give a plug again because I'm such a big fan of this kid. But I just want to say Antonio Haddon had another nice touchdown catch in the first half. So. Special kid. If you haven't got a chance to see him, you got to watch this kid play.
Yep.
John, quick question. In reference to the Fort Pierce Central Cobras that you're watching tonight, they have some great players. They have some great plays we've seen. But penalties and big mistakes have really cost them. Is that something that they've got to work out? Is this an anomaly? Or is this something they need to really focus on?
No, it was a big problem last year. That's a great point. It was a big problem last year. It seems to be a problem again. You had the touchdown. Dravius Knowles' touchdown wiped out by a penalty probably 15 or 20 yards up the field. That you never know. Could he have scored without it? I don't know. It's such a weird thing to say. A penalty wiped out a touchdown because maybe the penalty caused the touchdown. But you have a penalty there. Penalties on 3rd and 4th down for them. They can't have that all year. And I would say this, in my opinion, I see a lot of talent on Central's offense. I don't see a lot of consistency yet. Now, last week you're only on the field for 17 plays. That's not a great thing for an offense. You need some repetition. They don't look like they're totally in sync yet. The talent's there. I think they still are a ways away from being that dominant team that we thought they were going to be.
Well, you can read John every day in TC Palm on the web. And, of course, they're even in print, too.
Thanks, guys.
We read you all the time.
Half.
Thanks a lot, John. John Santucci of TC Palm, and we'll be back in 2 minutes. You're listening to the Halftime Show right here from Lawnwood Stadium, 14-0. Fort Pierce Central leading the Port St. Lucie Jaguars. We'll be back.
Great news! Your St. Lucie Public Schools has created an app available for you to download today. It's easy. Just go to your online app portal and search for St. Lucie Public Schools. Once you have downloaded the app, you have handy access to St. Lucie Public Schools news, calendars, athletic events, parent resources, educator resources, and, with just a single swipe, contact information and website links for all public schools in St. Lucie County. In addition, this app provides you with the ability to follow us on Twitter. Here you can receive more frequent information and real-time happenings in your St. Lucie Public Schools. Download the app today.
We've got about 5.5 minutes left at halftime. The Fort Pierce Central band is out there, and they have, you talk about a band that's grown in size over the last maybe 5 or 10 years. It is this Cobra regiment out there. Very, very impressive. Speaking of the Cobras, next Friday night, Fort Pierce Central will be at Clewiston, and we'll have Fort Pierce Westwood for you at Jensen Beach. And that will be on both WPSL and WSTU. So it'd be very interesting. Centennial is going to be on the road next week at Sebastian. South Fork will be down in Palm Beach. Satellites coming to Treasure Coast. And then Palm Beach Gardens at Vero Beach. And, of course, Lenny Jankowski up in Vero once again has a juggernaut.
And Gardens is very good. Gardens is very, very good.
Really?
So
Okay.
that should be a very good football game. Of course, Lenny will have them well prepared
Yes.
and throw all kinds of tricks at them.
Well, take us back to 1993 when and Carol and I had gotten here in May. So first thing I did is go over to Port St. Lucie High School and figured, okay, who's doing the games? Nobody. And talk to this young athletic director.
Actually, I wasn't even an athletic director the first year. I was still coaching football
That's
with John
right.
Carty.
That's right, you were.
But I was very involved with building the stadium.
That's right. That's right.
And I tried to explain what we were going to do with this press box that was a figmentation of my imagination at the time.
Yes.
Because I wasn't quite sure how we were going to get it done either. And you guys had to work from the bleachers, the top of the bleachers.
That's right.
Until we could get them an okay for them to, you guys go up on the slab, because we hadn't even put the walls up yet.
That's right.
Yeah, but Joan, there was a benefit to broadcasting those games on the bleachers because we had crowd noise that was live.
And we had a great crowd.
Oh.
Super band,
Yes.
as you mentioned.
Super band.
Well, you had what? 250, 300 kids in the band. It looked like a college band.
That's right.
Looked
It
like the
sounded
University
like
of
one.
Michigan or something. You're right. You're right.
sounded
They
like
did.
one.
Yes.
And see, a lot of people look at our record, and they don't realize that Larry Green's senior year, 1993, we lost 3 games by a total of 5 points.
Ooh.
And we didn't make the playoffs because only one team made the playoffs at that time. It wasn't 2 teams. We finished second place 3 years in a row.
And we called those games. That was the year we called all those Larry Green games.
And, people forget that. No, we were 7-3 that year. And the year before we were 7-3. And the year before that we were 7-4. Won the district against Westwood. Went down to play Palm Beach or Branch Ely in Pompano.
See ya.
And we lose 21-14. The last day of practice, which was the day after Thanksgiving for us, Larry Green breaks his finger in a defensive drill. And so we had to bring Paul Zinter in as quarterback because Larry couldn't get a snap. In those days, you were under the center. Nobody had a long snap. And, and we finished the press box, and we put a room in there for WPSL and a little antenna, and it was.
And we were calling the Port St. Lucie High School football game of the week.
You bet.
That's what it
You
was.
bet. Yep. That's how it all started back in 1993. Okay, so how did we wind up with 2 crazies like Jeff Powers and Coach Rick McGuire?
I think what happened was, my first year as athletic director, you called and said, "Listen, can you work with Mike Melton?"
Yes, from the Palm Beach Post, right?
At the South Fork game.
Yeah.
And I said, "I'll try." And Mike and I had been friends a long time. We did fine. And I said, "Listen, radio is not for me. I'm too busy watching the game as I did tonight." So you said, "You got any names?" And I said, "Well, I worked with this guy over at Sportsman's Park when I officiated, and he announced. And they gave me a microphone. I would explain the penalties, and Jeff would teach people about football." It wasn't really play-by-play. It was supposed to be just public address.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Jeff made it play-by-play.
Sure.
And so you said, "Oh, wow, okay, I'll try this guy out." And then I said, "Well, I got this guy. He just came over to Port St. Lucie High School from Westwood. We've been friends a long time. He knows a lot about football, played at Wake Forest. And I know you've never forgiven me for putting Powers and McGuire together. I know that. And someday when I go to the pearly gates, I'm going to say, 'St. Peter, I know what I did on earth. I put the 2 of them together." And they became fast friends, and between their Connecticut/New York/whatever accents, and the jokes and the rant and raves through the years,
A lot of fun.
a lot of fun. More people listened to it than you would believe. And you and I had that discussion, and because when you first came to me, I said, "Who's going to listen to high school football on the radio? Everybody's coming to the game, or they're out surfing or something." Oh, you'd be surprised how many people listen. And, we went on to basketball. Rick did basketball during John Piccarini's run to the Final Four. Tony Malizia's baseball. You guys end up coming in and doing the state baseball championships when we had them at the Met Stadium. You do baseball now and high school baseball now. So it's grown. People all the time. Especially, I guess the biggest impact on me was when the baseball team went to the state championship. And I'd run into people I didn't know who knew me and said, I was listening to the radio. Those were some of the most exciting games that I'd ever seen or ever heard. I could just picture in my mind.
Well, and you know what's very interesting, and it's an angle that we never think about as broadcasters, and that is, Craig Jerome and his gang over at WLX has done a magnificent job over the last 2 years televising our sports programs in St. Lucie County. Well, there was a game down at Jensen Beach High School, and Craig took the crew down there. This young kid from Jensen Beach High School is pitching the game of his life, and it happened to be George Coles' son. Game goes up to YouTube, and all of a sudden, AD and the baseball coach down at Jensen Beach High School said, tell us a bit about this pitcher. We're from Finlandia University in Michigan. They have no recruiting budget. It's a Division III school, and the rest is history. George's son, Patrick, hit the practice field yesterday for the very first time for Finlandia University, and he's going to be the starting pitcher this year at Finlandia. So, that's the YouTube aspect of all of this is also going to help colleges, especially small ones, recruit.
Absolutely.
And they pulled in. They figured Patrick would just go crazy if he was the only guy from Florida. So they pulled in a kid from Dwyer, and they pulled in another kid from Miami. So there's 3 Floridians up in the Upper Peninsula where today it was 40 degrees in the first part of September. So anyway, yeah, congratulations to all of the athletes. And you never know. Again, not only you never know who's listening, but now you never know who's watching.
And Greg, this has been a public service for you and Carol. I mean, you really love high school sports.
Yeah, we do.
Not too many communities can say we have owners of radio stations that just love high school sports. And we thank you for that.
Well,
I mean, that's
there's
the
a
only
reason.
word.
There's a reason they call us the toy department. I mean, and
That's because you play with toys all the time. I think
That's
we
right.
all know that. But you know what, Greg? As you're talking about that, Danny, about who's going to listen to high school football on the radio, we were at your school, Port St. Lucie High School, when you were the athletic director and you finished that press box, and we were, Greg and I and Rick McGuire, were calling those games, and I remember doing the play-by-play, and I called the wrong man that just made a big play, and I saw about 100 heads turn around and look up
Straighten
here,
you out.
and that's when I knew they're listening to the radio while they're watching the game. So it became a very big event in Port St. Lucie, and it spread. And, again, it is Greg and Carol Wyatt with great storied histories, Greg being one of the founding fathers with ESPN way back in the day. Well, we're getting ready to start the second half, folks.
Before most of Port St. Lucie was even born.
Right.
That's true. Before I was even born.
Well, that's not good.
Right when the wheel was still square. Well, we got a lot of people listening to the game. Jeff Bent, Joe Wilson, Preacher Joe, a lot of people listening back there in Port St. Lucie and in the Martin County area. We're getting ready to start the third quarter with the Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars trailing the Fort Pierce Central Cobras by a score of 14-0. But Port St. Lucie will be on the receiving end of the opening kickoff here in the second half.
Watch Ingersoll's leg.
And he kicks it, and it's a little shorter than normal, but it still makes it down to the 14-yard line, take a bounce, picked up at the 10, to the 15, to the 20. Running the wrong way now, running backwards, better turn around, back up to about the 19-yard line before finally brought down on the opening kickoff here at the second half. Port St. Lucie on the return that time was Larod Williams, and they'll have the ball just underway here in the second half.
Boy, Danny, you look at that Central team, and there's a swarm. No matter if it's a defensive play or if it's a kickoff return, there's more than one Cobra on each play.
And a lot of different numbers. They've got some kids,
exactly.
fresh numbers playing on special teams. Port St. Lucie doesn't have that luxury.
They don't have anyone even sitting on the bench on Port St. Lucie. They're all playing, And Port St. Central has at least 30 players sitting on the sideline that haven't even gotten in yet. There's just a slew of players for the Cobras.
I don't see Eddie Irby out there at quarterback, so
Bad news for the Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars. There's the snap. Throw down the middle, but it's intercepted at the 50-yard line and brought down at the 45 of Fort Pierce Central. That was a good defensive coverage by Kobe Golden, and he just picked that ball out. That was thrown into a lot of coverage there, Danny.
He was triple teamed, and that wasn't a wise choice, but,
Yeah, but you got to admire the hair on that quarterback for Port St. Lucie.
Jabari Hickman
He's got some long hair. Well, the Cobras have the ball at their own 45-yard line, going from your left to your right. Again, the Cobras in gold jerseys and helmets, purple pants. There's the snap. Handoff on the right side on the near side, coming across the 50-yard line and down to the Port St. Lucie 48-yard line for a gain of 7 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 3 for the Fort Pierce Central Cobras.
Justin Hodge. He's had a career tonight running that sweep.
Boy, how would you like to go one-on-one with that kid?
I think
he's so powerful.
1 carry for a loss, and everything else has been 5 or more plus yards. Again, from the shotgun, there's no huddle. There's no under center. Again, it's Hodge. And again, it's 5 yards and a 1st down just across the Port St. Lucie 45 to about the 44-yard line. And this is something Port St. Lucie really does not need early in the second half, trailing by 14 points.
Jeff Hodge is listed at 5'5". He may be 5'5". He's a lot smaller, shorter than the other members of the Cobras.
Yeah, but he looks like Emmitt Smith. He runs like Emmitt Smith. There he goes again. Cuts left, cuts right. There he goes left side, clear room. Now it's a foot race. One more player to dodge. And he's brought down at the 10-yard line from behind on a nice tackle. Was that McFadden, number 9? Very good tackle. It was a touchdown-saving tackle. Cobras get a 1st down to the Jaguar 10-yard line. No, that was Xavier Giles. Excuse me.
Boy, Hodge is just so amazing.
Quick.
And with the Jaguars trying to arm tackle him, you're not going to get him down that way.
Well, 5'5", like you say, he's my height. He's a short guy.
He really sees the field well. You can see his head on a swivel. He's looking left and right, and he is making the right decisions.
Lightning fast. He just picked up the ball again and take it down to the 1-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line for the Cobras. No huddles, no lining up under center. Very spread out offense. Right now they tightened it up, though. There's only twins to the right. They're going to go up the middle. Hodge goes in and scores a touchdown with 9:57 to go here in the third quarter.
That's great. The kid carried the ball all the way down the field. You give him a chance to score. That's class.
Cobras always did have class. A very good school, very strong football, perennially strong football program. No matter who the coaches are. And they'll be lining up now for the extra point attempt. 20-0 is the score of the Cobras over Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars.
Plug for their new athletic director, former Jaguar offensive lineman, Pete Crespo, took over for Jay Stewart, who retired last year.
Oh, good. Okay.
And, Pete was a wrestler and an offensive lineman during the Larry Green years, and very, very successful wrestling coach at Central, and has taken over the reins of the athletic department.
We actually called a wrestling match in Port St. Lucie High School also.
Yes, you did. Yeah, well, you had that great tournament for so many years.
After Jay Steadwell and Bob Crow.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was back in the mid-90s.
Man, yeah, you pulled that one out. I didn't remember that. You and Rick, right?
Yep. And you were there, too. I think it was the three of us again. 21-0, 9:57 to go, third quarter. Cobras over the Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars. Port St. Lucie really looking to get something together, and they've got to contend with the strong defensive front four and strong linebacking core, which is very quick. They get through the line. They're pancaking the offensive line very fast. The linebackers are bursting right through the gaps, and Port St. Lucie playing without their starting quarterback. So here we go, the kickoff from your left to your right, and they do an onside kick, but it doesn't go 10 yards. So it really doesn't matter who received it because it didn't make the 10 yards. Kicking off from the 40, the ball resides at the Cobra 49.
So are you working on something for down the road with an onside kickoff when you're up by 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, you've got to be.
Or
You've got to be. That just didn't work. And it didn't work from the very beginning. I mean, it just
The kick was weak. It didn't have any leg to it, and it wasn't going to go 10 yards. So they had to try to cover it up close to it anyway, and that's what happened. I think you're right, though, Danny. I think this is just trial and error stuff. Take a shot while you've got a nice lead. See what works. See what you need to work on.
because there's probably some fans out there that's saying, up by 3, your onside kick.
trying to run it up.
Yeah. I didn't say that, but there might be somebody out there
No,
thinking that.
I know what you're saying.
And that's what they're up by, 21 points. But here come the Jaguars are going to get the ball now. At midfield, just inside the Cobra 49-yard line. So Port St. Lucie with some of their best field position so far this game, trailing 21-0, have a chance to maybe get down and put something together here.
A little bit different formation.
Different formation. On the near side hash, they got 2 men in the backfield alongside the quarterback. Hand off to the big man, number 2. Once again, Tyree Session, who had the nice run on the right side, tries the middle this time. Doesn't get anywhere on it. Back to the line of scrimmage.
That's like running up against a brick wall when you go against those big defensive linemen for the Cobras.
Speaking of brick walls, Port St. Lucie does not play next week unless they've added a game. They are off. But the following week, on the 18th, the Jaguars have a bye. No, not really. They're in Vero.
They're in Vero.
Oh.
Well, that'll be a backbreaker.
Boy, it gets back-to-back, Central and Vero. Oh, my.
From the shotgun, throwing off to the right side, a little high, goes incomplete. You know, when you talk about the defensive line, Danny and Greg, what you're talking about, we're talking about guys that are 285, 265. That's almost NFL. I mean, that's college-sized guys.
Right. And that's awful tough when they're fresh because they haven't been on the field that much. They're fresh and hungry and
big and strong. And Troy, it's amazing actually. But if I recall, year after year, Fort Pierce Central
always
big guys on the line.
How'd you like to have to feed them before a game?
Pass off from the right side. Oh, it's incomplete. It was a forward pass on the right flat behind the line of scrimmage, about 4 yards, but it was dropped, so it was incomplete. Those are risky passes. You're throwing a lot of yardage. You risk a lot to happen. They're trying to get away from that big front line that's coming through, but that one didn't work. And that'll bring up a 4th down and 10. Ball still at the Cobra 49-yard line with 8:59 to go here in the third quarter.
The game that everybody has scheduled on their calendar is Friday, October 30. Vero Beach, right here at Lawnwood against Central.
That's going to be fun.
Kind of a pooch kick.
4th down, and the kick is, it's picked up, and oh my gosh, that ball looked like it was going to be downed. It was picked up and run like a wildfire. Again, you can't kick the ball. You just can't kick it. That time it was Antoine Wallace.
No, I think everybody in the whole place thought he was going to just
down it at the 30-yard line.
And
instead,
he scooped it up.
He scooped it on the full run.
He looked like Bolt on that play. I mean, he was a rocket down that sideline.
They've got some speed. They have really got some speed on this team. They've got size and they've got speed. They correct the errors. They tighten the nuts down a little bit. And that was including a penalty against Port St. Lucie, which will be denied.
I think John Santucci hit it on the head. He said they've got to get consistent. That's the key. I mean, and they've got plenty of time to do it before
October 30th.
Before October 30th.
The big one. Boy, that's going to be a tough one for Port St. Lucie. They'll tack the penalty yardage on after the kick. And that brings it, and they still don't have those chains worked out right, but that'll bring it a first down at the Port St. Lucie 20-yard line for the Cobras. They were already inside the danger zone. Back to pass. Throwing in the end zone and caught for a touchdown.
Again, rifle arm.
Celadonio. Wow.
Celadonio right to the back of the end zone. That time it was Kobe Golden, I believe. Caught him in the back of the end zone. You know, there was two receivers. The front one was being covered, and he threw it right over him to the man that was open in the back. Now it's starting to get opened up a little bit. This can be depressing for Port St. Lucie. You're looking across at the Port St. Lucie side. They have, like, scattered few players besides who's on the field. And the Cobras look like they have two teams on the sideline. It's amazing. There's the extra point attempt. It's up, and for the third time tonight, oh, no, this one is no good. It's wide. So with 8:40 to go in the third quarter, the Fort Pierce Central Cobras have opened up a 27-0 lead over the Port St. Lucie High School Jaguars.
And we'll take a 1-minute break. You're listening to WPSL and watching WLX TV.
Great news! Your St. Lucie Public Schools has created an app available for you to download today. It's easy. Just go to your online app portal and search for St. Lucie Public Schools. Once you have downloaded the app, you have handy access to St. Lucie Public Schools news, calendars, athletic events, parent resources, educator resources, and, with just a single swipe, contact information and website links for all public schools in St. Lucie County. In addition, this app provides you with the ability to follow us on Twitter. Here you can receive more frequent information and real-time happenings in your St. Lucie Public Schools. Download the app today.
Welcome back to Longwood Stadium. High school football game of the week. Port St. Lucie High School trailing 27-0. 8:32 remaining in the third quarter. They take the ensuing kickoff, and they'll bring it up to their own, appears like the 27-yard line, where they'll be 1st and 10 for Port St. Lucie.
But the same thing we said last week with Westwood. Port St. Lucie cannot afford any mistakes at all.
You got to get lucky on a few things. You got to get lucky. Yeah, you got to get lucky.
Well, it's not just luck. It's like you say, there's such a skinny team compared to the Cobras. These Cobras are constantly funneling in fresh blood, and Port St. Lucie just keeps the same guys got to keep fighting hard, and they don't even have their starting quarterback.
Oh, and they've got a player down who is Williams. LaRod Williams is on the ground.
Yeah, he's been one of the guys that's been in the backfield. Again, Danny, we see these teams, and we got to wonder. It used to be Port St. Lucie was as stuffed on the other side as players were on the Cobra side, and now you look across the field. You've got the home team here. It's not a matter of home and away. The Fort Pierce Central Cobras team is just swarming with players, filling the benches. When they were lining up on the goal lines, they were shoulder to shoulder across the entire field, whereas Port St. Lucie was shoulder to shoulder, barely made it halfway. Why is that?
Well, I think one of the things you have to look at, the same with what we're in a different classification.
Yeah.
There's probably 900 to 1,000 more students at Fort Pierce Central than there is at Port St. Lucie High School, so you have a larger contingency to choose from.
Sure.
And our population has changed. We've improved in soccer and some of the sports that we weren't as good in a few years ago. That's just the demographics of where the city is.
Sure.
The east side of Port St. Lucie
is changing.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it, and it has changed over the years.
And that's got good points to it. A lot of good points. Here's the snap from the shotgun. Once again, Port St. Lucie trying to do something, handing off to Darius Oregon again, and this time and not very much yardage, a loss of only 3.
You know what's very interesting? Looking at Port St. Lucie the last few years at the Young Floridians, and I'm always a Young Floridian judge in athletics, and you look at the GPAs, and they're off the charts. They're almost 4s. And you know, you start thinking, wow, this is different, and of course you got the IB program at Port St. Lucie High, which is possibly one of the best in Florida.
There's the snap. Once again, the handoff goes to Darius Orgain, and he tries the middle, and we know that there's not much happening there. There'll be no gain. It'll be third down. So Orgain gets no gain. And third down and a long 12 at the 25-yard line of Port St. Lucie. 7:28 remaining, third quarter. Jaguars trailing 27-0. Well, that was a good explanation, though, Danny, on the changing demographics of the school, which actually changes the expertise in which sports they are participating in and excelling in. It's a big third down play. Port St. Lucie would like to see something. And they're throwing downfield deep, and there was nothing doing there. Double coverage. Pass was intended for Jamal Polk. He's putting his hands out like, hey, because there was a defender in front of him who just wouldn't let him get by. And there's no rule that says you got to yield to someone who wants to run over you. So it'll be fourth down and a long 12 yards to go for a first down from the 25-yard line of Port St. Lucie. And they'll bring in the punting team, and doing the kicking honors will be Christian Goodwin.
And now if you're sitting on the central bench, you're cozying up next to your position coach. Put me in, coach. Come on. We got a nice lead.
High snap, and for some reason, that kick went straight up and is coming straight down. Takes a nice Port St. Lucie roll, but interesting. No action on it. They down it at the 48 of the Cobras. I got to say, it's like John said from Treasure Coast Palm. You don't kick it to where their man's waiting to receive the kickoff. You got to kick it away no matter what.
Now, that's easy for you two guys to say. You don't have 300 pounds coming at you full.
Four of them 300.
Right, coming at you.
See, it's easy for us in the booth to say that.
And in the stands where they say, why didn't you – wait a minute.
You're just glad to get it away. Oh, there goes the handoff again. There's Haddon. This guy just doesn't go down. He's a speedster. He looks like Emmitt Smith. He has the white gloves. He's got the white high socks, the white shoes. He's got the white arm pads around his biceps. He's got the white. He just looks tight. He's got the white towel hanging. Does the guy look tight or what? I mean, come on. He looks like a young Emmitt Smith. He looks upfield and he's quick as you can be. 6:30 to go, third quarter, 27-0. Cobras over the Jaguars. There's the snap again from the shotgun. Handoff this time goes to number 20 again, Justin Hodge.
He's got that play down pat, doesn't he?
Ooh.
2 little cuts and he's gone.
That guy can dance. He can dance. He cuts almost like he has quick cuts. You notice that his ankles are very quick to change direction.
Washington Redskins had a guy, Joe Washington, that played for
Oh, Little Joe.
Yeah. And same situation.
I covered him in San Diego with the
Barry
Chargers.
Sanders was able to cut like that.
Oh, man, he was great.
That's a direction changer.
Yes.
But that's what this kid is like for a little guy in football here. Quarterback keeper Celedonia runs it himself across following some good blocking, gets up to the Port St. Lucie 30-yard line on a 2nd and 8. And that'll bring it down to a 3rd and a long 1, maybe 2, with 5:30 to go here in the third quarter.
You look at him and you say how small he is. What about the kid from the Washington Redskins from FAU? I mean, all of a sudden he waltzes into the NFL. What is he, 5'6"?
Albert Morris.
Yes. And he was like an instant impact to the Redskins.
Top 5 rusher for first couple of years.
Yeah. And, you look at a kid like this and you think, okay, if he gets good grades, he could very easily go to a D2 school. I think he may be too small for Division I, but you don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's got to be the right situation.
If he gets the bulk, as he grows, if he bulks out with muscle, he can stay at that height and he can still be one of the premier running backs. It's all about speed and cutting ability. If he gets on a team with a good line, he just needs 1 or 2 holes.
Right.
And boom.
Well, and you're talking about size. Jake, the quarterback, 6
Celedonia.
foot.
Yep.
I mean, that's a very good size for a Division II, Division III quarterback.
You bet.
Get his
Celedonia.
education.
And here he is lining up again in the shotgun. Twins right, one receiver left. Lone back is Haddon. He hands it off to him. Right across the middle he goes. Picks up another 5 when he needed 2. And it'll be a first down for the Cobras down to the Port St. Lucie 25-yard line.
Well, and it's funny. It's we were talking to Fred Almaid who's a Centennial counselor, and of course a dear friend of ours, and he was saying, there's nothing wrong with D2 football at all. That he said D1 is overrated.
Haddon gets the handoff again, goes right up the middle, this time off the 3-hole on the right side.
God, he's impressive. He's really impressive.
And he gets all the way down inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line.
Greg, I used to tell the kids, if you look at TV on Sunday and they show the colleges they went to, not everybody's Notre Dame, not everybody's
That's
Ohio
right.
State. There's Morehead State, there's Murray State, there's all kinds of.
Haddon gets the ball again on the handoff. Dancing won't go down. Gets to the 5-yard line where it should have been a loss. Oh, Jannard Johnson's now carrying the ball. Haddon has come in, let Johnson play a little bit. Just like you said, Danny, they're let me in, coach.
Starting to see some clean jerseys out there.
Johnson again. And he gets down to the 3. Still
Fumble.
on his feet.
Fumble.
I think it was a fumble, wasn't it?
Could be a fumble Ruski. They're putting it that's somewhere around the 1-yard line. Again, Jannard Johnson was carrying the ball.
Wow.
Fumble.
How about that?
Well,
Jaguars recover.
they'll keep the score at 27-0, at least for now. With
Yeah.
4:02 remaining in the third quarter, Jaguars will have the ball at their own 1-yard line.
Is this a blessing or a curse? All of a sudden, and watch the gold wave come at you.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
This is safety territory. You better be real careful.
My.
I bet you they're throwing the ball almost every play here.
Coach, don't give me the ball.
It's just tough. It's not that Port St. Lucie isn't trying and doing everything they can, but like I say, you're going against 285, 265, 265-pound guys that are fresh, that are rotating in and out. It just makes it tough. Port St. Lucie has no extra guys to pull in, so it's very lean. Oh, they're going to try to run it. Barely getting out of the end zone. Just breaking the end zone line inside the 1.
It's like pancakes versus cornflakes.
Well, Greg, like you were talking about, getting an education, that's what it's all about. And do you want to be a little fish in a big pond or a big fish in a little pond? And our example is Larry Sanders.
Yes.
Went to Virginia Commonwealth and gets drafted in the first round.
VCU.
Excellent example. Port St. Lucie, another handoff. Wait a minute, this time we have a penalty marker. False start going against Port St. Lucie. Well, that won't net much of a loss. There's only about 6 or 8 inches between the line of scrimmage and the goal line.
Shortest penalty of the year, 3
That's
inches.
right.
You know, and Jeff, getting back to how you and I met down at Sportsman's Park, our kids in St. Lucie County are so lucky with the youth sports and the facilities that have been provided for them through people building the stadium, McCorkle's Park, and
Pass goes incomplete on second down. It'll be 3rd down and 11.
a lot of communities are very jealous of what we've produced. I guarantee you 90% of these football kids played youth football
Sure.
in Fort Pierce or in Port St. Lucie and had good coaches, some great people involved.
Well, if you remember, R.D. McCorkle was the fire chief, and his son, Sam McCorkle, actually went on as a walk-on for the University of Florida and played for the Gators and made some fantastic plays. It got to the point where I was calling the games with you on the field, and they put our TV up in here, and I was calling Sam McCorkle blocking punts for the Gators while we're watching the the games you were calling right there on the field.
And now coaching at Dartmouth.
Really?
Yes, he's a coach at
Ivy
Dartmouth.
League.
Yes.
Ooh.
Been there for 4 or 5 years now. And, but just great community support. Look at the facilities we have in St. Lucie County. Across the way, we're watching, 3 or 4 soccer games going on over there. And, we have a great community to be proud of and what we've done.
Coach Rick talked about when he first visited this stadium, and the Westwood coach, I guess it was
Jim
Palla, brought him here. Not to the campus, but here. And he said, "This is your home." And Rick said, "That's all he needed to do. Where do I sign?" But you think of high schools that could play in a stadium complex like this, and of course what they built at South County is really beautiful. So you just think, yeah, this is really special.
Greg, we've called a lot of games in a lot of different towns, a lot of away games, and we've called some in real cow towns.
Yes, we have.
And the press boxes weren't very good.
Press boxes, we were calling them from milk crates.
Yep.
Incomplete pass. So that'll bring up a 4th down at the 1-yard line. But we've called them from milk crates and all. But the football was great. They didn't have any facilities, and sometimes you saw some really good football. And other times,
I remember when we went to Ocala.
That's what I was thinking
and
of.
That press box.
Vanguard
High School. The press box had holes in the roof, and we had to somehow get crates to put over the holes of the press box roof and put the equipment on there. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a trip.
Yeah, we are blessed in this area. The students that come to play sports here have golden opportunities to play and feel like they're treated like pros. 4th down,
doesn't step on
they're just going to punt it out of the end zone. They're just going to take the safety. They're not even going to have room to kick it. So they'll just take the safety and they'll punt from their 20. A tough break for the Jaguars, but it's probably a smart move, Danny. There was no room. You've got 10 yards there to try to get a punt off.
You said it right, Greg. Was it a blessing
or a
curse? And it turned out to be not so good a blessing.
Yeah. Wow.
You're glad to get a fumble. You're glad that you stopped them, but
what's intriguing to me, and watch this year after year, and it's like you look at Sebastian. That's a school that's been around 20 years, at least. But you look at the way Vero Beach still handles its program like it's a one-team town. They don't even acknowledge Sebastian, and it's like, and the town gravitates to that, and they make it work for them. It's amazing to watch.
It sure is,
because that's like a college up there.
Oh, and the way they play, and the way they're coached, and the way everyone takes that to heart up there, you would think that football was the lifeblood of the entire community.
Exactly.
Year after year.
They're trying to build that at Jensen. And it's kind of interesting. Remember that youth, you guys are talking about youth football, that youth team that went all the way and won the championship. Well, that youth team is all together now as freshmen at Jensen Beach. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch to see if all of those kids can make a success at the high school level.
And there's a free kick by Port St. Lucie from the 20. It's taken at the 40, down to the 35, the 30, the 25, the 20. And there goes Jacob Harrison, and he's all the way down. Oh, this is great for the Cobras, but this is painful for the Jaguars. They're down to the 10-yard line. It's 29-0 with 2:38 to go in the third quarter. Well, this isn't what the Cobras did last week in the second half.
No, not at all. No, they were Westwood held them scoreless. It was 35-0 in the first half, but Westwood held them scoreless.
Danny, did they just run out of gas, or what is it, you think?
Well, let's look at the young men that have piled up some yardage. They're all spitting an image of the other one that was in before him. they're reloading.
Yeah,
They put another player in. He's the same type of runner.
fast,
Darting,
short.
in and out. Yeah, and so they got 2 or 3 of them out there, and that's
Take your
it's
pick.
a great luxury.
Yeah, that wear your defense out, chasing after those guys,
Yeah.
too. Well, it was another run down. They were about the 5, but there's a penalty marker down. And that'll be a holding penalty against the Fort Pierce Central Cobras. So with 2:31 remaining, with a 29-0 lead, they will move their offense back to the Port St. Lucie 15-yard line.
Observation. You're up by a lot. Do you keep your quarterback in? Or do you give the second string, who you may need down the road in an emergency situation, an opportunity right now when a little shuffle pass?
Very good shuffle pass. And you know who that went to.
Wow.
That's
Complete.
about as fast.
TD Central. Well, that took all of 44 seconds.
What was that, Matarvis Brown? Was that another one of those
Another
plug
one.
in another one? They
Just,
all
yeah.
look the same. They all run like wildfire. They dart like crazy.
The only thing's different is their number.
That's it.
Well, it's the exact same score as last week. It's 35-0. We'll see if the PAT works this time for Ingersoll. Boy, this kid is going to be special. I would imagine he'll have a lot of colleges looking at him.
Yeah, that one went up, and this time it's good again. So it's 36-0 with 1:36 to go in the third quarter over the Port St. Lucie Jaguars.
And we should have a running clock right after this. Is that correct?
I believe so.
I would imagine after 35. So we will be back in. Let's take a 1-minute break. You're listening to the Game of the Week. All right, Cliff. We're watching Cliff in the studio, so it's a Game of the Week on WPSL and on WLX TV.
Great news! Your St. Lucie Public Schools has created an app available for you to download today. It's easy. Just go to your online app portal and search for St. Lucie Public Schools. Once you have downloaded the app, you have handy access to St. Lucie Public Schools news, calendars, athletic events, parent resources, educator resources, and, with just a single swipe, contact information and website links for all public schools in St. Lucie County. In addition, this app provides you with the ability to follow us on Twitter. Here you can receive more frequent information and real-time happenings in your St. Lucie Public Schools. Download the app today.
It's high school football game of the week, and you're here. I'm Jeff Powers with Greg Wyatt and Danny Neinstein in the booth at Lawnwood Stadium. We're getting ready to start the fourth quarter, where we anticipate a running clock as the score is Fort Pierce Central Cobras 36 and Port St. Lucie High School yet to score. It's a beautiful night, and it's been a tough night for Port St. Lucie. They started off looking very competitive, but it didn't take long before their starting quarterback got hurt. And once we lost Eddie Yearley, well, it's been downhill ever since.
It really has.
And so we'll start the clock right now at 12 minutes remaining in this ball game. Port St. Lucie's coming in. You know, it's tough on kids. These are all high school kids. They act like men. They look like men. They play football like men. They spit like men.
They're all friends.
They're all friends. But some of them are going to go home tonight beat up really bad from Port St. Lucie, and they got to go to school tomorrow and listen to it. But you know what? That's part of life, and that's what builds character. And they'll come back and they'll play another hard game the next time. but it's definitely not fun
No.
the day after. Port St. Lucie will start with the ball in their possession at their own 25-yard line.
It's a little easier when it's Friday night and there's a couple days in between to
Yeah.
soften the blow. But tomorrow it's fresh.
Uh-oh, high snap over his head, and that's going to be sacked for a big loss
Oh.
back at the 11-yard line.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gold jerseys in on that tackle.
Jamal Polk was back to take the snap from the shotgun position. The snap was high, went over his head, and by the time he picked it up, all he saw was a bunch of gold. And it wasn't the kind you're going to cash in either. Cobras now have pushed him back with that sack back to the 11-yard line. We'll call it the 14. They'll give him credit for some forward progress. Only a loss of 10. 2nd and 20. Again, the snap comes, and this time it's dropped. But the penalty marker comes in first. And it looks like we have an illegal substitution.
So tomorrow night, right here at Lawnwood Stadium, Mike Thomas and Eric Dilber will have the play-by-play of Westwood versus the Martin County Tigers. That game will be on WSTU, WPSL, and we think WLX-TV as well. So, boy, there's going to be a lot of good high school football on your educational channel this weekend, huh? That's going to be good.
Yeah, the St. Lucie County Education Channel, WLX on TV, partnering with WPSL in bringing you these wonderful high school football opportunities for everyone to see. Here we go with the snap. Port St. Lucie. This time it's a handoff, and it's successful, and it's good for a gain of about 6 yards. Running up the middle on that play was Larod Williams. Took it up the middle, Danny. Greg made it made 6 yards out of it. That's pretty good under these conditions.
Got it back to the original line of scrimmage and a little bit more. It's just 3rd and 9 now.
Of course, it took some. There's a little injury on the play, so.
Oh, another Jaguar.
With anything good comes something bad, it seems, for the Jaguars tonight.
Well, and the one thing we've talked about, and Danny, you can talk about this at length. With we were talking with Fred last week. St. Lucie County does not have trainers, and they do not have doctors. And it's like I know that they've talked about wanting to bring that back to the county, and we hope that happens soon. It's we've seen this is not an easy game. I mean, there are some pretty serious injuries that do occur. And what was it? It was our first or second game that we had a serious injury, remember? It was a broken leg for a kicker.
Broken leg, Port St. Lucie.
It was Port St. Lucie kicker. And he was like a superstar at the school. And, and all of a sudden, luckily there was a doctor there. They had it, all addressed within about 15 minutes. But, it's like the referee situation where it's all about saving a little bit of dollars.
Right.
But, it's like, what's it worth when you've got these guys giving 110% out on the field and there aren't the athletic trainers and or backup doctors that may be needed someday.
And every year the kids are bigger, stronger, faster.
That's right.
More athletic.
Yep.
And
if anything, they need them more now than ever.
Yeah, exactly.
You always had, if you remember, Greg, back in the early days when we called the games back in the 90s and with Port St. Lucie, you always had EMTs all over the place.
That's right. The ambulance sitting.
The EMT guys even up in here with us.
Yep.
Not anymore. And you got to wonder, what are they thinking? Port St. Lucie handoff on the right side, trying to get around the corner, nothing doing. Loss of about 1 yard on the play. That time that was DeAndre McFadden, the ball carrier, I believe.
4th down for the Jags, 4th and 10 from their 25, 24 and a half to be exact.
9:21 to go, running clock, 36-0 here in the fourth quarter. Port St. Lucie trailing the Fort Pierce Central Cobras.
guy that got the biggest workout today is the Port St. Lucie punter. He's been on the field quite a bit, unfortunately.
Well, he's getting a lot of practice. Just make sure you don't kick it to number 1, who's down there, Dravius Knowles, right now is deep for the Cobras. As we await the snap, it's a nice one. Gets the kick off, and it's a nice kick, sailing up across, landing just inside the 45-yard line, bounces up and down and out of bounds at the 42-yard line of Fort Pierce Central. Going from your right to your left with 8:39 remaining, they have a 36-point lead. Do you take the quarterback out now, Danny? I think you're right. You're just taking a lot of risk.
And are you?
Yep, that's what they've done.
They're bringing in number 12. That's a quarterback number if you ever saw one.
Dan Vaughn for Fort Pierce Central's coming in, get a few reps. Again from the shotgun, again no huddle, again trips to the right. Same program, same results. Running back this time on the right side. Makes good headway. That was number 28, Nick Hernandez.
I'm assuming that Dan Vaughn had a bigger brother named Sam that was tremendous
I think so, yes.
football player, but just as good baseball player.
Yes, he was. And by the way, we have to congratulate Coach Melizia, the head coach at South Fork High School. Congratulations to him. He's succeeding a legend down there.
Mike Harper.
Yeah, Mike Harper. And, of course, he succeeded a legend in his own mind in John Messina at Port St. Lucie. Just kidding, John. Oh, I know he's listening. I know he's listening.
Well, you got to give credit here. Number 60 for Port St. Lucie, Tyrone Brown, is having a really good game. And just now he just put a big sack on the quarterback that's filling in right now for Caledonia. So Brown's having a good game for Port St. Lucie.
Oops.
And you got a flag thrown.
Was that a delayed call?
A little offsides on encroachment from the defense. That time it was Xavier Giles. Just jumped a little too early, got in the neutral zone. So this line of scrimmage now, the Cobra 45-yard line with 6:48 to go in the ball game. And a big lead. Snap. Pass off to the right side. Nice blow throw by Dan Vaughn. Goes all the way out just beyond the 40, right about the Port St. Lucie 45-yard line. Enough for a first down. So Dan Vaughn filling in now at the quarterback position for Central. Looked pretty good. Nice clean throws, accurate, and he got the first down when he needed it.
That's all you can ask for a kid that comes in and
Coach
probably
Rick
playing in his first varsity football game.
Yeah, Coach Rick was here. He'd say, why are they passing the short side of the field?
Well, this time he couldn't get the handoff out, so Vaughn goes down for a loss of about 3. That's another sack for Port St. Lucie. Good, strong effort by Xavier Giles, and a nice defensive play by Darius Orgain once again.
You know, Greg, 5 years worked for a great gentleman, Terry Davis, who is a big supporter of athletics, and we used to go to the games, and I always say, Terry, 3 things
He's
happen.
a good guy.
3 things happen when you throw the ball, and 2 of them are bad. That was my philosophy, and he kind of adopted it.
Oh, he got a little holding here, but we didn't call it.
Oh,
Okay, we're
no
letting
call.
it go. Letting
No,
it go.
they're gonna let it go.
That's you know what? That's good officiating, Greg. When it's 36-0, you got a call like that, and the ball is overthrown. There's no sense. There's no sense in calling that penalty.
Except my son is out there trying to catch that pass, sir, and he could have scored a touchdown, sir.
There's always a complaint from a parent.
Right, toward the officials.
Right.
As you and I both know.
Well, yes.
It's our fault.
Officials never win. Either they win in spite of us or they win because of us. But
Nice pass by Vaughn.
yeah, beautiful pass deep downfield to the 15-yard line. It goes incomplete. But he's definitely nailing some good ones. And Port St. Lucie is definitely getting tired. That was Jamal Polk. We've been calling his name a lot. He's done a lot of running. Good defensive play by Polk. The ball is incomplete. Vaughn looked good. But it's going to be 4th down, and they're going to punt. So Port St. Lucie's going to get a shot with 4:36 to go to see if they can work any kind of offense up. But they are beat up, and they are exhausted on the Port St. Lucie side. But Fort Pierce Central looks like they could play another game right after this one because they got enough players. Nice snap. Nice attempt for a block, but the punt gets off out of bounds. Let's see where they're going to mark it. Oh, right there at the 13-yard line.
Danny, a question about Thursday night games. preparation time.
I got in trouble once, so watch where you head with this.
Okay.
I got my hand slapped because I thought at one time there was a local coach who played every Thursday night. And I said that's educationally unsound to do it all the time. Once in a while is fine. Because these kids aren't going to get home until 10:30.
Sure.
The
At the
cheerleaders,
earliest.
the band,
Yep.
the fans, and they got to go to school tomorrow. And if you've been around education for any amount of time, you know that teachers like to give quizzes on Friday.
Sure.
So are you
Boy,
prepared?
interesting perspective.
And-
Why'd you get in trouble for that, Dan?
Because the superintendent at the time didn't think I should say that in the newspaper, but I was asked my opinion, so I gave it,
Well,
which I did for 17 years. But to do it every week, and his
Right.
and I know that he did it because that was one less day the other team had to prepare, and he could bring his whole coaching staff to watch a game.
The next day.
And he wasn't fooling me. And yes, there are nights you have to play some on Thursday, but he did it every week for a year. And I would never mention his name, but Kevin was very successful at Westwood, and and he's a tremendous football coach. But that was he needed a little advantage.
Sounds like the New England Patriots kind of thing
Yeah.
working there, huh?
Yeah.
A little extra effort there.
well, obviously, this isn't, you aren't working very sophisticated like pro offenses like you would in the NFL, but you'd have to wonder. And I never really thought about it from the educational side. Obviously, you would, coming from that, about the educational disadvantages of playing all the time on Thursdays when teachers do give tests all the time on Fridays. Yeah. Wow.
And that's just my opinion, and it's my 35th year teaching. And,
I was going to say, you've got quite the backup.
Got another injured player for Port St. Lucie. Talk about getting beat up. That's Tannen Salomon. Now we got a run on the left side by Port St. Lucie. He's looking good. He had a blocker who decided to just kind of watch him. But it was a nice run around the left side, and that was Trabari Hickman.
2:39 left in this one.
Yep.
It'd be interesting, not to change the subject, but it'd be interesting. You talked earlier about Trabari's hair. Is that going to be allowed to be continued? At some point, somebody's going to start pulling at their hair,
Yep.
whether intentionally or unintentionally. But if you're trying to tackle somebody,
Grab
it's a
the-
jersey,
It's
it's
another
a hair,
extra thing to grab.
and
Part of the body. It should be legal, but it's going to hurt. They see it on TV.
Yeah, it started with what's his name from the Steelers.
Yeah.
And Troy there, and
Troy Polamalu.
the kids copy it, but
They copy all the stuff they see. That's what it's about here. 1:45 remaining as we're winding down the fourth quarter, 36-0. Cobras haven't scored this quarter.
That's true. That's true. But, boy, they had a great third quarter.
Port St. Lucie's had at least 4 injuries.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a costly game
They're
for
going
them.
to need that week off because they go to Vero next.
Boy, they sure are, especially with Eddie Irby. They're all going to need the rest, and they're going to hope. We haven't heard about the injury to Eddie Irby. He was out early in the first quarter. They're starting quarterback for Port St. Lucie, but we hope it wasn't something that might last. Maybe he can get over it and get healed up.
Our college football begins on Saturday at 3:30. Louisville at Auburn, followed by Notre Dame, Texas. And then for you insomniacs out there, USC football, USC and Arkansas. A full day of football, day one of the college football season.
Well, with 42 seconds left, we're glad you were able to join us for today's Throwback Thursday high school football game of the week. A nice run by Port St. Lucie across the 23-yard line. It'll be third down and about 12, but 29 seconds remaining. Greg, thanks for having me out here to join you and
bet.
Danny Neinstein. It was a lot of fun bringing the team back together again. And, of course, we are extending our best wishes to Rick McGuire, who was one of the original early broadcasters with us and for sports, who is up tending his mother up in Connecticut. But it's been a great chance to get together. Throwback Thursday.
You bet.
Back with the old Port St. Lucie people and talking about the good old days as Port St. Lucie takes a tough loss. That's the end of the ball game. Final score, Port St. Lucie nothing, Fort Pierce Central Cobras 36. More than anything, though, the injuries to Port St. Lucie, I think, are going to be what's the most pain for them.
What's going to be the most pain, Jeff, is when he's done with us tonight. He's going to follow Donald Trump, and he's going to. You're fired. I can see it coming. I can see it coming.
I can feel it too.
Yeah.
Your one-day contract has been renewed.
It's renewed. We get another chance someday.
Yeah, you may get another chance. You never know. Well, this has been a lot of fun, and for Carol and myself, I really have all the fun. I mean, it's this has been just an amazing 23 years for us, and expanding it out with the county. From the Port St. Lucie Jaguar game of the week, as we did for 10 years, and and expanded it out with the rest of the new schools to Centennial, and then Treasure Coast, of course, John Carroll as well, and Jensen Beach. And the sad thing, and I was looking at the schedule, is that border game is not going to be played now, the Port St. Lucie Jensen Beach game, and I thought that was a real natural. I mean, the schools are 4 miles apart.
That's it.
And when R.J. Costello took over at Jensen, that was one of the first things we did. Is we wanted to make a game we wanted to make sure that, that we had a good game between us. As when John Messina went over to Centennial, I said, "Listen, we got to sit down." And Bob Minsky was the mayor, and he said, "Whatever I can do to promote it, so that it becomes a city championship." Well, then you had Treasure Coast come into the mix, so it wasn't a real city championship. But, that kind of hurt with the Jensen Beach Port St. Lucie game, because our kids do live right near each other on the border.
They do, yeah. It was funny because I was talking to one of the Jensen Beach supporters, and they said, we really wanted the game. We wanted to play the game, and so hopefully this will just be like 1 year off for that. But I don't know, Danny, as a coach, and, what do you tell your club? I mean, even though you get a week off, you got Vero next. I mean,
well, you got to work on the positives.
Yep.
You got to work on the positives. You say, look, they didn't score in the fourth quarter. The second quarter wasn't really that bad.
No,
we got some breaks because of some penalties, but it wasn't that bad. We just got to correct the third period. They came out of the chute a lot better than we did.
Right.
And that's what you got to focus on. Okay, we got to correct the little mistakes. We had some positives early on, and the defense. Hey, I'll be honest with you. When I walked up the stairs at Lawnwood today, I said if I see a 50-0 game, I wouldn't be surprised, based upon what I've seen of Central, and so hey, they only scored on long touchdowns. They didn't march down the field on pounding. They got missed tackle here, missed tackle there. You work on those things. And Ryan Selesky's a very positive guy. He's always upbeat. He's got a lot of young coaches that have had some experience. And, he'll have them up, and they'll take rest tomorrow, and they'll be right back at it Monday. And, when we coach, we always said Labor Day, we work. If you're a football coach, you work. You're a football team, you work on Labor Day because you have a game that week. So
sure.
But that's what you got to work on. If you're Coach Schaefer, say, look, we got to cut down on these mistakes. That's what he's got to.
Oh yeah.
He's got to forget the score. He's got to work on the positives, but get rid of those few offsides. A holding, a face mask, those things happen. But the offsides and things like that, that just can't take place.
And big penalties that cost you touchdowns. Those are going to hurt if you play the Vero Beaches of the world.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, and don't dismiss, going down to the Glades and play Clewiston either. I mean,
always tough.
Tough when you head
are.
south, that's for sure.
Yep, that's very true.
Great fans.
Well, guys, thanks a million for being with us. This has been our Turn Back the Clock Thursday. And this would have been the exact first date that we were in the stands at Port St. Lucie High School doing our first Port St. Lucie Jaguar game. You know, I can't remember the score of that game, but boy, it's a long 23 years ago. Danny, great job.
No.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you and my two friends and all you do for our community. And, keep supporting high school sports. If you're listening, there's nothing better than Friday night, a high school football game. There's just nothing better with the spirit the kids have, win or lose, and the bands and the cheerleaders.
And we thank, like people like Steve Hoskins, who's been with us for, I think, well over 15 years in his firm, and then Nisair and a lot of the supporters who have supported high school football all along, and a lot of the supporters from Martin County as well, because we're dinosaurs. There's no doubt about it. I mean, as Danny, as you well know, as we saw it in the state baseball tournaments, when we went over to Sarasota, you might have 12 to 15 radio stations broadcasting. And then you come back to Port St. Lucie just maybe 3 or 4 years later, and there were 2. And we were one of the 2. So, I mean, that gives you an idea of how,
it's evolved.
It is all evolving, and we can't thank WLX TV enough because this partnership that Craig Jerome has really developed there with the school channel is really amazing. And we started with a couple of baseball games. We're going to try and do other sports this year, so we're looking forward to that partnership as well. And Jeff, this is awesome to have you back. I mean,
it's good to be back, and you know what else is good to be? Looking at the computer there and seeing our good old buddy Cliff Desmond, our engineer, back at the home studios on the 27th floor of the WPSL building.
And tomorrow, there you go, Cliff. And tomorrow night, it's going to be Mike Thomas and Eric Dober up here for Martin County and Westwood. And then I'll be calling in every once in a while from the Centennial game tomorrow night, Centennial and Jensen. For Cliff Desmond back at the barn, and for Danny Einstein and Jeff Powers, I'm Greg Wyatt. Good night, everybody.